Steve, my good man, how the devil are you?
I'm not too bad, buddy.
Not too bad. Might be the understatement of the week going on there, Steve.
It could be. We'll drop that bombshell in a minute. But how are you?
I'm good, mate. I've got a wisdom tooth coming through, so that's a little bit sore. It's a weird thing. I can see why children struggle with teething so much. Is all I can say on this front.
Yes. Tell me about it. Yeah, Brody's still teething at the minute.
Oh, that's a joy for you.
He's not got many left, but yeah, teething kids. Oh, mate.
Yeah, and so that's me at the moment. I'm just like wandering around the house, just moaning that my face hurts, and then just drinking still Soviet era vodka to try and fix that.
I don't give Brody Soviet era vodka.
I'd be a bit annoyed if you did, mate, because I'd be upset that you've given away my vodka.
Tim don't share.
I do share, just only with people over 18.
Well, this is true, yeah. We haven't given any to the underage. We don't promote underage drinking.
Well, I mean, if it's like a party or something and everyone's like having a good time, that's okay, but not to toddlers, to be fair.
Not to toddlers, no. We don't go that far.
No.
Yes.
But yes, I'm good, mate. I'm supposed to be camping today, as you know, but my brother and his entire family have come down with food poisoning, as it turns out. He cooked some dodgy duck, and this wiped their entire family out. So we're actually going camping tomorrow. We're recording a day early, so I don't have to record from my car on a chilly October night.
Yeah, when you said last week, I was like, that just sounds a bit harsh.
Yeah, I was thinking it might be a bit grim. Like, there's no way I can start the car and have the heater going because that's going to ruin the sound. So I'm just going to sit there and shiver. But we've solved that problem by
your parents, your brother's misfortune is our benefit.
Exactly. So it all works out.
You are drinking Soviet era vodka in the dry.
Exactly, and in the warm.
And in the warm, yes. Yeah, what bloody warm. My house is always very warm.
It's roasting, but there's no more bugs flying around today, Steve, which is an odd one. I think the British autumn has started killing off all the insects now.
Yeah, it's definitely here. It's just that one spider near you.
Yeah, this badass spider behind me. He's not moved though, or she's not moved probably. Actually, looking at her, so
It's just eyeing you up, mate.
Yeah, I'm a bit concerned. So, but if by the end of the show I've turned into Peter Parker, happy days.
Oh, it's sorted. Happy days.
But your week, Steve, or your weekend at least, you want to kind of say a few words about what's been going on, and then we'll dive into the show.
Yes, yeah, I had an interesting weekend. So I don't know if it's if you can hear or it's clear. I decided to have me a wee teeny tiny stroke.
Yeah, not
only a little
ideal.
one. Only a little one. I woke up Friday morning, and all was not well in the world. All was not very well in Steve's world. Got rushed into hospital, and it transpires I've had a little tiny stroke. Being treated, it's not identified yet exactly what it is. They're treating it as a minor stroke, or a TIA, as they call it over here, which I think is a transitic something attack.
You sent me some information about it, mate, and I did read it, but honestly, it went straight over my head.
I can't pronounce it. The only thing that's left me with, I'm fine, I'm absolutely fine. The only thing that's left me with is a little bit of slurred speech, and sometimes I can't get mouth to say what brain wants it to, or fingers to do what brain wants it to do. But it's not bad. I'm still fully functional. But yeah, if I start to fade away, or if I get a little bit slurred, it's not the booze.
No, exactly. I'm the one that's slurring because of the booze here. Steve has got a legitimate reason to be slurring.
Alright, so just bear with me. I will pick it up. I'll get better. It will all be good in time.
Yeah, exactly.
And hopefully I'll get through this and you won't even notice it.
And you actually sound a lot less like Sean Connery than you did even a day ago when we spoke on the phone.
Yesterday, I was so tired. I was really slurry. I was having a lot of trouble getting words out. Everything felt like I had a really fat tongue. It was just that taste. For some reason, it leaves you with a horrid metallic taste in your mouth. Couldn't eat, couldn't drink. It was like chewing on tinfoil. Or when you put a battery on your tongue as a kid. You know when you did that?
As a kid, mate, literally last week. This is something I get up to quite a lot, just for the lols.
How much life was left in this battery? Stick it on my tongue. Is that feeling?
Okay.
That's how it felt. So just like generally try to talk. If you spoke for too long, you start to slur off and your tongue would hurt. It was nasty.
Yeah.
So, but I am very, very lucky. I know I'm very lucky. I was in hospital with some very, very unwell people. So yeah, I count myself very lucky, and I wish them all the best with their recovery.
Yeah, but we'll just see how this show goes, Steve. In theory, it could be a long show if there's a lot of shit to get through, but we'll do what we can do tonight, and then we'll go from there.
I might have to just ask Tim to chuck a couple more breaks in there, but we'll go with it.
Yeah,
we'll
exactly.
See how we go. It's not for money; it's just to let me recover.
That's it. So, Steve, with that I say out of the way. Like we just
shrug that off.
We dealt with that. That's fine. Moving on. We don't care about that. There's no compassion in this room for Steve and what he's going through right now.
Stroke. Come on, you twat. Pick yourself up.
Sort your shit out, mate. Yeah. Let's get on with the show, eh? We've got MotoGP to talk about.
Yeah, it's more important than that.
So, shall we dive in?
Let's go for it. Sorry, I was mid-gulp then.
You were almost impressive. It almost came back up as well out of your nose in the hurry to speak.
It did. It was one of those where I just get caught off guard.
So while Steve recovers, we'll dive in. I'm Tim, he's Steve, and this is for the love of MotoGP. So, if you're new to MotoGP, guys, don't forget to check out our Introduction to MotoGP show. It will tell you everything you need to know to start enjoying the sport that we all love. We go through the teams, the riders, the rules, the storylines, all the amazing shit. And ahead of we know there's an Amazon series. Is it Amazon? We know there's an Amazon series, I think, coming out. Much like Netflix's Drive to Survive with Formula One, we know there's going to be a MotoGP equivalent coming out. So that is gonna set you up nicely for the season. But until then, scroll back through the feeds, check out the Introduction to MotoGP.
Yeah, check it out. It's a good show.
It's a fun one, mate. It was a fun
long
one.
show, though.
And I was slurring a lot through that, but that was nothing to do with my brain and just everything to do with the alcohol.
Yeah, there's a lot of alcohol consumed that night.
So, Steve, let's get going, mate. We've got a lot to talk about. It's been a
lot to talk about.
A lot of news came out just before the race weekend, and then the race weekend happened, and even more news.
Oh, I think I even sent you a message saying we're going to have so much to talk about this weekend.
Yeah, you did. You did. This was maybe on the Thursday during the press conferences. We were like, fuck, there's so much going on.
Yeah, I remember saying to you, I've got the video pass just to watch the conferences and all that jazz. And there was just stuff flying out. I was like, oh, Christ. Yeah, so let's try and make our way through it.
Let's do that. To start with, though, Steve, we need to make a correction from last week.
I need to make a correction.
You need to make a correction from last week, Steve. So George emailed us to make sure we knew this correction needed to be made, Steve. But I will let you take the helm on this one, my friend.
So I said Eddie Lawson was from Australia.
Yeah.
And it turns out he's not. Apparently, he's from the USA.
Yeah, I did Google this to confirm, and I can confirm George is correct.
George is correct. So well done, George, for picking me up on that. You will have to bear with me. I'm not a geographical expert.
Literally, maybe as far away as you can get from different continents. I would
argue,
other
side of the world.
Yeah, I think they might be like directly opposite each other.
Polar opposites. Yeah. But yeah. Thank you for pointing my errors out.
Yeah, exactly. So Eddie Lawson from the US, from California. And actually, as well as being involved in two-wheel racing, was involved in four-wheel racing in Indy Lights and IndyCar.
Absolutely no idea about that. The four-wheel racing, none of that. And it's good to know. Like even when you get a correction, someone points out one of your mistakes, and then something comes back like this, with a bit more info like that.
Exactly.
Because Eddie Lawson is just a little bit before my era of watching. So I never really did much delving into his career.
Okay.
So look at him, very Rossi-esque with like the Monza stuff.
Yes, that's fair.
So yes, that was interesting to find out that he'd raced other categories as well.
Yes, certainly.
So some good came of my era.
That's exactly it. And actually, we do quite enjoy getting corrections from anyone. Long-term listeners, first-time listeners. We quite like it. As long as you're nice about it. We've had a few corrections in the past from people that were dicks, and we've never read them out because it's just not worth engaging people. But if you're nice about it, it gives us a much broader knowledge of MotoGP, of the racing scene.
Gives us a warm fuzzy as well.
Exactly, that's exactly it. So I'm sure in every episode we get things wrong. So please do get in touch. Do correct us. Just be nice about it.
Yeah, but then we've never proclaimed to be experts. So.
Armchair experts, maybe.
Armchair experts,
but not like real
sofa
experts.
Racers, absolute sofa racers. Yeah, but we're not experts.
No, certainly not. Just massive fans who love talking about MotoGP.
Yeah, but don't worry, I have got the dummies, geography for dummies.
Yes, I did see that. That's nice. So you will be... You'll be nailing it. You'll know where Spa is in the world. No longer in France, as it turns out, in Belgium. Who knew?
Who knew?
We've learned that California isn't in Australia.
Who knew?
There's a lot going on. Well, there is a California and Mexico, just to confuse things slightly.
Yeah, there's also a Norfolk in the USA.
Yeah.
Norfolk, Virginia, is it? That'll be a correction coming in.
I think you might be right, but I feel like the USA has got so many place names that there might be 14 Norfolks there.
Oh, probably. Probably. I'm sure it's Norfolk, Virginia. I know, is it the naval base there? Something like that.
I've absolutely no idea, mate.
Let us know.
There we go.
Correct me.
We're not going to Google it. Email.
Email in. Steve's correction of the week.
Maybe we should start a new
That
email
should be a
address,
segment.
Steve. Corrections at fortheloveofmotogp.com.
Yeah. Steve Screw-Ups.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't bumped the mic yet tonight, but there's time.
Yeah, there's plenty of time, mate. We're only a few minutes into the show so far.
No.
So on to the news then. Let's start with this first bit of news, Steve. Minimum age limits for all GP classes, as well as other FIM-affiliated junior categories, are being raised.
Good.
After the raft of young riders losing their lives in the lower classes, the FIM has raised the minimum age for all Grand Prix riders to 18. So
That's good.
You will not be able to get into Moto3 unless you are 18.
That is good.
But there is the exception that Red Bull Rookies champs and Junior World champs will be able to enter Moto3 at 17. This exception is already in place. At the moment, the age we know is 16.
Yes.
And if you are a Red Bull Rookies or a Junior World champion, you can come in at 15. This is what Fabio Quartararo did, for example.
Yep.
So we have seen it in the past. But yes, from now on, 18 is the age limit, which means there are some records that will never be broken.
Exactly. Whatever. Yeah, there are. I didn't think of that, actually.
Yeah, Chan On-Chu's record for the youngest ever GP winner will never be broken. Loris Capirosi's record for youngest ever world champion will never be broken.
Oh, that's quite interesting. But then, this is what we've needed, though.
Yes.
This is a change that has been very much needed this year, or not just this year.
No, but it's really come to attention this year.
With the events of this year, tragic as they may be, they've really highlighted the problems that are out there.
Certainly.
And in some ways, although we can't change what's already happened, we can't bring anyone back. And some will argue the changes are now too late for some, is a step in the right direction. It shows people are listening and addressing the issues that are there.
Yeah, it's certainly a step. I don't think this is it. I think there's more that needs to be done. And it's a shame that it's a reactive change as opposed to
not a proactive.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a preemptive change there. But at least it has been done. At least there have been changes made. And the Grand Prix paddock isn't the only thing that has had these rules enforced in. And these will come into play as 2023. Actually, they don't come into play next year. They come into play in 2023. But anyone who is in the category next year who is underage will still be allowed to compete. They're not going to be booted out.
That's it, yeah.
So we see the CEV, Moto3 and the World Supersport 300 categories. Their minimum age limit is jumping up to 16. Good. Red Bull Rookies minimum age limit is jumping up to 15. And all national Moto3 series, the minimum age is being bumped up to 14.
Yeah.
We're also going to see changes to the numbers of riders on the grids. There'll be no more of this 40-rider World Supersport grid. That's going to be gone. Any FIM-affiliated championship, the grid will be no bigger than 32 riders. That'll be 30 full-time riders and 2 potential wildcards.
Good steps.
Certainly good steps. It's not the end. I don't think this is enough, but it's certainly big steps in the right direction.
No, I think we'll have to get through the next couple of years and just see where...
I would like to see the changes made before we see what happens.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing, isn't it? I'd rather see proactive as opposed to reactive steps here.
I don't think they will be able to see it. I think they might be able to logically sit down and come up with scenarios.
Yeah.
And then try and work out which one of those scenarios will happen and put the... pick me up, you know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we'll just, like you say, we will have to see what happens. I would like the changes to be made earlier. And actually, the Paddock Pass podcast, I think it was Paddock Pass podcast, were talking about this, and they were saying actually in the eras of 125s and even the 250s, they were very hard bikes to ride. They're saying the Moto3 bikes, I mean, for you and I, Steve, or for average Joe listening to this show, are going to be tough bikes to ride on the limit. But for professional riders, apparently they're not hard bikes to ride on the limit. They're very stable and they really forgive mistakes. The older machines, you had to keep it in the power band, and if you didn't keep it in the power band, you could lose 3 seconds that lap. That breaks up this pack racing thing. The pack racing that we do love seeing, but is the scary thing here.
Yeah, I mean that is the old two-stroke power band days when you get back to like your TZs and your RSs.
Yeah, you miss a gear or you fuck up a braking zone, you've lost 3 seconds that lap while you try and build your momentum back up.
And like you said, now the more forgiving these bikes are and easier to ride, you get more and more people on the grid to ride them.
Yeah, and you get that pack racing. It's closer racing. Yeah. The slipstream becomes worth so much, and the slipstream allows you to, on some circuits, the slipstream's worth nearly a second on some tracks. Like it can make and the difference between a rider that is doing, I don't know, for any track, for example, is doing a 131 as opposed to a 132. The pack's gone. Like there is no pack racing there.
No,
but if you've got a slipstream that's worth a second, all of a sudden the entire field is closed right back up again.
Well, exactly. They're going to pull themselves back in there.
Exactly.
In some ways, this is going to sound really harsh, but if you had those old bikes back, which were harder to ride, you wouldn't have as many people on the grid. It sounds bad, but you'd weed out the ones who are able to and not able to ride these bikes.
Yes.
You bring in these easiest ride bikes, and you've got a real mixture of ability.
Yeah, and the ability is there's not that much difference between the front of the pack and the back of the pack.
No.
Like, there would be riders that are clearly way more talented, but they've got riders that aren't as talented that can easily stay with them. Yeah,
exactly. And then when you start putting those eggs into the basket and all into the mix, it becomes a recipe for disaster.
Exactly.
In some ways, going back to these harder to ride bikes would be better. You'd get rid... Again, it sounds really harsh, but you get rid of the guys who are less able.
Yes.
Stay and ride these bikes, and then, like you say, eliminating more of the risk.
Yeah.
But we'll see what's going to happen we'll have to just keep an eye on it over the next few years.
Yeah, certainly.
See what these guys come up with, what extra measures they could put in place. How we go from there?
Yeah, that's exactly it.
It's good steps.
It is good steps. I'd really like to see race direction cracking down more, though, especially in Moto3 on the weaving down the straights and stuff. I saw clips and it was on the world broadcast for this weekend. They were showing clips of Jeremy Alcoba, who was obviously involved in that big crash that got Dennis on his 2-race grid penalty. Jeremy Alcoba was making those same moves a few laps earlier. The same moves. But got no punishment at all. This is, again...
It didn't end in disaster.
Exactly that. That's the stewards, and I guess the stewards, not race direction. It's the stewards that are punishing results and not punishing actions. But you need to punish actions. You can't just punish results.
It has to be a broad spectrum. It can't just be, if you cause a crash.
Exactly. If I'm drink driving and I get home fine, I'm still fucking drink driving. Exactly. Like, I'm still going to get in the shit for it, even if I've not caused a crash. Exactly. And that's the way it should be, because the chances of causing a crash are so much higher because of that. So you need to be punishing actions and not results. Yeah,
it has to be one slate for everyone. It cannot be just on a whim.
Yeah.
It has to be a full bore, level playing field. So hopefully...
Yeah, I hope, and I think yes, exactly. We're just going to have to see what happens with that. But I hope the stewards crack down hard, because I do think, while I'm on board, like I said before, I'm on board with Dennis Onchu's punishment. I think he's been singled out. I think he's been scapegoated, and I'm not really okay with that. I'm not okay with the scapegoating and the making an example of someone. If this was to happen in any legal sense, I'd be up in fucking arms about it.
Oh, good.
So I'm still not very happy about what has happened. But like I said before, if the stewards are now going to be punishing these actions full stop, happy days. Let's do that.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Let's move it on then, Steve. We're going to stay on this people breaking the rules bit of news here just for a moment. We spoke last week about the Avintia mechanic that faked his COVID test.
Naughty boy.
A naughty boy. He was suspended from the team, but now he has, quote unquote, parted ways with the team.
So I like exactly how you've put it in the note, aka... they fired his ass.
Yeah, exactly. And we know he's freelance anyway. I'm sure he's freelance anyway. We know most of these guys are. Yeah. But yes, they've just said, no, our relationship is completely over, and I'm sure he won't get another job in the MotoGP paddock.
Damn right as well. If you're going to put people's health at risk, lives at risk, livelihoods at risk, you deserve to be out of there.
Exactly. So, again, punishing actions, not results.
Yes. So, see you, mate.
Yeah, exactly. But he's gone now, so he won't be anything to do with the MotoGP projects moving forward. I imagine most of the Avintia squad, I don't know this, but are most of them going to be absorbed by the VR46 full team next year?
I think so. I don't think there's any clear-cut path for who's going where yet, but I would imagine most of those guys who already work together, it makes sense to keep them together.
Yeah, exactly.
So I would imagine they'd be sort of dozed into the VR46 crew.
Yeah. So I guess we'll just, hopefully, whoever it is, hopefully they've realised their mistake, hopefully they realise what they've done, and hopefully they go on to, be very conscious of the decisions they've made and go on to have a good career somewhere else. Yeah. I don't wish them to have their entire life ruined for this.
That's it, yeah. It's as much of a huge mistake that they've made, it doesn't warrant that kind of punishment.
Exactly. And we don't know anything about this person. We don't know whether this is one of a series of mistakes that's just a pattern of behaviour that is just going to, maybe you should be out. But hopefully it's just, hopefully they go on and everything's okay for everyone. But
yeah, hopefully it's just the first mistake, just a silly lack of judgment.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll just, I guess, hope for the best all round for everyone.
Aye.
So, on to happier news, Steve.
Happier news. We like some happy news.
We like happy news, my friend. There seems to be some rumours flying around now that Ducati may is the important word here, it's a bit of a rumour.
Capital letters.
Exactly. May be fielding 6 GP22s next year. 6 current year bikes for what is one of the most dominant bikes on the grid at the moment.
That's a worry.
It's certainly a worry. It looks like, if the rumours to be believed, that Ducati may try to give Bastianini a GP22. That'll be alongside Jorge Martin's GP22, alongside Johan Zarco's GP22, alongside Luca Marini, and alongside the 2 factory riders in Jack Miller and Pecco Bagnaia. This would essentially be a reward for his current performances. He's scored, 2 podiums now this year. He's actually now leading the Rookie of the Year battle.
He is, yeah.
And kind of to stop him leaving the Ducati fold. I think Ducati want to keep their talent in at the moment. We saw with KTM, with losing Jorge Martin, if you don't offer your riders what they want, they will just fuck off elsewhere.
Disappear, yeah. I am all on board for 6 GP22s.
Oh, mate, I am scared, and I think every other factory should be a bit scared by the idea of having 6 capable riders riding current year machinery.
I think Dorna will step in at some point.
Well, the problem is, though, Dorna can only step in if someone else is going to be there to pick up the satellite teams. And if Suzuki and Aprilia aren't capable or aren't willing to do that, what choice do they have? They want to keep the grid full.
But then if you're let's say Ducati are the best bike on the grid, and suddenly there's 6 of them, who else has got a shot?
Jeez, can you imagine if they make a potent weapon? And I'm not saying the GP21 isn't a potent weapon, but if they made a bike that was unstoppable, jeez, what would happen, man? Like you
just have the one-off where you've got one Yamaha rider
that might get a podium every now and again,
one Honda rider,
exactly,
the odd KTM and the odd
Suzuki here and there, yeah, exactly.
Just mix it in there, and Gigi's in the back, just smug, sitting on his throne already, with his little scepter rubbing his little goatee. But it's a weird thing to think that you could have such a dominant manufacturer, not even one team, just a manufacturer. I do think it's got to be more even. I think Dorna have got to look at this and start to think, right, we need to push these other manufacturers to really have a satellite team to even the field out.
Exactly, and I think maybe this is going to have to happen at some point. That we have a rule that says once you've been a manufacturer for 3, 4, 5 years, if you've won a championship, you now have to provide bikes for a satellite team. Do they have to be current year machines? Maybe not.
No, it'd be last year's offshots, like we've always seen in the past. It doesn't have to be your current bike. Let's go back to the old way of your satellite team is your hand-me-downs.
But it is more fun now, isn't it, that they get current year machines?
More fun, I do agree. But even if that was the contract, let's say they wind it in so every team's got to have a full factory and a partial factory satellite team where they can have current bike, but it's not full factory support.
Maybe not the full factory support. That makes a lot of sense.
And let's go down that road. So you've got 4 bikes, and everyone's even. You start getting these 6 bikes on there. And
8 bikes next year for Ducati.
Yeah, that's true.
It could potentially be, we know it will be 5 current year machines, but it could potentially be 6 and then 2 one-year-old machines. It would be better if everyone sort of had a satellite team and gave their satellite team current year machinery, but like you say, maybe not with full factory support.
Yeah, I think that is the way forward. I think Dorna will be looking at this. Let's put in a scenario where we come out at the start of next year, the GP22 is absolutely unstoppable.
It would be terrifying, mate. Yeah. Imagine being anyone else on that grid.
It would get boring.
It would get boring.
It will get really boring when each race you think, well, which one of these Ducatis is going to fill the first spot?
And you sort of know that a Pramac Ducati won't be allowed to win the championship by the end of the year. If there's a battle and it comes down to a few points to Valencia, they're sort of not going to be allowed to win.
I don't think they care as long as it was a Ducati.
I don't know. I think that Lenovo, for example, the factory sponsors of Ducati, are going to be like, we're paying you the big bucks. Why the fuck are you not on the top step?
Yeah, this is true. But I think if you were to sit GG down, you'd be like, it's a Ducati.
Yeah, that's probably fair. And I think maybe the Ducati factory as a whole would have that opinion, but I imagine the team...
Yeah, the title sponsor.
Yeah, exactly.
Is going to push through and be like the governing body in it. We pay, like you say, we're paying you the big bucks, give us the big results.
Yes, exactly. Because imagine if this was happening with KTM now, for example. Imagine if a KTM branded bike was in Tech 3 was leading, if not winning, the championship, a Red Bull, who obviously put all of the money into the KTM factory team. Imagine if they were like, what the fuck? We're paying you all of this money, and yet your branded machine is winning. Like, what?
It's a scary scenario we can find ourselves in.
It is, and it's sort of a worry. It's not a worry yet, but it could become a worry in the future.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be something that will be interesting to watch at the start of next year.
Yeah.
Come Qatar, I think we'll really know what we're dealing with.
Definitely. And it's an interesting point because it's going to force all of the other manufacturers into doing something here. Because if you're on a satellite team that isn't getting current year machinery, you're just going to be like, well, what's the fucking point? Let's just go to Ducati, who are already providing fucking 8 bikes. Yeah. And you see, we know LCR Honda have got current year machinery now, but one of the Yamahas we know next year, satellite Yamahas, won't be current year machinery. Nope. What if Yamaha or that RNF racing team are like, do you know what? We're just going to go to Ducati as well. They can provide current year machines. We can't win on these bikes. We could win on those.
You've got potential to see half the grid.
Yeah, and that's a scary thought,
racing
man.
Series.
Yeah, exactly. We've got Ducati spec series all over the world. We don't need another one.
Tricolor Cup over here or whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Cup in BSB.
Yeah,
you don't need it. I think if we see a year overly dominated by Ducati, I think Dorna will really pop in and say no more.
They'll have to. And I mean, we know there's current contract cycles for, I don't know, the next 3 or 5 years or something that a lot of teams have signed for.
Yeah, those run down gradually because not all of them have them.
Yeah.
So gradually, as your contracts run out, you could change it. So, right, you've got to bring it. For Christ's sake.
It's going so well, mate.
It's going so well. It's getting worse as I go along. Jesus, mouth.
That's fine. That's just
words are in the head.
We're getting excited about Ducatis here, and we're getting that Italian passion going, and we just can't spit the words out.
That's what we're putting it down to. Italian passion. Yeah. Italian passion, not stroke, just Italian passion.
But not the kind of Italian passion that you're all Googling now.
Don't Google Italian passion, whatever you do. Trust me.
I'll Google it later just to see what results come up, Steve. But I'll do it on my 4G, not on your Wi-Fi.
I was going to say, don't do it on my Wi-Fi.
You'll be getting some weird ads.
Tell Sarah.
Yeah, I feel like it was me, not Steve, I swear.
Yeah, Italian passion. Good God. You imagine it. Let's be a picture of Gigi.
Oh, that would be so good. Just looking really miserable, just stroking his beard.
Passionate.
Yeah. Rubbing his scepter, you could say. No, moving on.
No, don't go down that road.
So, Steve, we spoke about RNF racing very briefly just then. Let's dive into them a bit more now.
Go for it.
RNF, we know, is Razdan Razali's team. It's what is currently the Petronas Yamaha. It's going to become RNF Racing. RNF, as it turns out, seems to be named for the initials of Razdan's children.
Really?
That appears to be.
Nice touch.
It's sort of a nice touch, but I wish they'd just told us that to start with.
Yeah. Well, we had this whole conversation, 3 or 4 podcasts ago, about what that could be.
Yeah, exactly.
Razlan and Friends, or N Friends, or whatever it was.
That was it. Razlan and Friends. Really need funding. Those kind of things.
Oh, dearie me.
But yeah, as it turns out, it's the initials of his children. I can't actually remember where I heard or read that. I imagine I probably read it on The Race. So that's where I get a lot of my MotoGP news. But that's apparently what is the case. So we know they've now signed a 1-year deal, weirdly, to get Yamaha machinery for next year.
But
only a 1-year deal, which is strange, because every other satellite team signed like a 3, 4, 5-year deal.
Yeah, maybe that is because of the change. Maybe it's you got to secure next year X amount of funding, then we'll renew.
That seems to be what people are saying. From what I've been getting from the world of the internet here, is that's exactly the case. Yamaha, being a very conservative Japanese firm, have just been like, look, you are a brand new operation here. Exactly. We don't know whether we can sign a 3, 4, 5 year deal with you. We don't know if that's safe. So we're just going to give you a 1 year deal. There's an option on there to extend the deal if need be, which I imagine will happen unless the fucking whole thing implodes. But
I hope it doesn't.
I hope it doesn't.
For all involved, I really hope they make a go of it. I'm sure they will. Someone will pop up. There's some big companies out there.
We know Razlan Rosali's not a fucking idiot. Let's be fair.
He wouldn't do it.
Exactly.
If he could see that there wasn't a future in it, you'd cut and run.
He's a shrewd businessman. He's made a lot of money being involved in motor racing. He's not a fucking idiot. He's not going to be just being like, let's take it for a year and fuck off. There's none of this dodgy. Do you remember the dodgy Mark VDS thing in MotoGP where there's all this money laundering going on weird things? I can't see any of that.
Well, it wasn't Van der Straten, was it? It was
what was the fella's name who ran the team? I can see him, but
I can picture his face.
I can't remember his name, but there was a lot of weird shit going on with that. I can't see Razlan Rosali doing any of that.
No, not at all.
And he's still going to be working with Johan Stiggerfeld?
Yeah, Stiggy.
Is it Stiggy still he's working with?
Yeah, because when we had their representative on the show, that she was talking about Heather.
Oh, no, he's working with Wilco Zeelenberg still.
Zeelenberg.
Stiggerfeld's out.
Yes.
Zeelenberg is the one that's staying in. I think, I might have got the two men confused. Oh,
I think you might have done. Yeah, it's definitely Stiggy. I'm pretty sure it's Stiggy.
Okay.
Yeah, email us.
I can see the email corrections coming in now, Steve.
That's the first thing that popped in my head. Emails are pouring in as we speak.
Yeah, it's certainly one of the two. One of the two is staying, one of the two is leaving.
Aye. Got me thinking now. My head's screwed as it is. Now you got me thinking. Jesus.
This is going to be one of those long pauses where we both just look off into space and try and work out what's happening. Yeah, well, this is just my general state of being, Steve.
My brain's melted away.
So also in that team, we've finally had the rider lineup confirmed. We know Andrea Dovizioso is going to be on that Yamaha. He'll be on a 2022 M1, so we know he's going to be on current year machinery. It was the other seat we were wondering about. Who could it be? Will it be Darryn Binder? Will it be Jake Dixon? Could it be Toprak Ratsgatlioglu? Could it be the American fella in Moto2 bikes? Not Jake Gagne. He's currently in Moto America. Yeah. Garrett Gerloff.
Yeah, Gerloff. All I wanted to say was Cambobier.
No, he's in Moto2.
I was going to say, I think he's in Moto2, it's not him.
No. We can now confirm Darryn Binder is going to be the man riding that bike.
He's making the big jump.
The big jump from Moto3 all the way up to MotoGP. This has been quite a contentious move, man.
It has, yeah. It's drawn a lot of controversy, a lot of opinion.
I have a strong opinion about this, to be fair.
I do as well. We've seen it done before with Jack Miller. Look how long that's taken.
Yeah, you wouldn't say Jack Miller's jump to MotoGP was a success.
No, not at all. But here's a scenario for you. Something I thought about earlier, right?
Okay.
We're seeing a guy jump in 2 classes.
Yes.
Missing the main class. With what we spoke about at the start of the show, the safety aspect, would you do this in the lower classes with a younger person, jump them straight from, say, their national championship
to Moto2?
To Moto3.
Oh, to Moto3? It's a good question. Maybe, if they're riding a Moto3 bike in the national championship, maybe you would.
Well, then let's say Moto2. If you're taking that big step, let's use Moto2. That's better.
I don't think you'd jump someone up from a 125 or from a national Moto3 championship up to Moto2. I might be wrong. I don't know what Fermin Aldeguer did. We know this is a 16-year-old that's doing the wild cards in Moto2 at the moment, or doing replacement rides in Moto2.
This whole thing just seems very similar to that to me, where you're giving someone a huge jump in power, ability.
The difference is fivefold, man. 60 horsepower these Moto3 bikes puck out.
Yeah.
Up to 300 horsepower. I've driven maybe 2 cars in my life that have had 300 horsepower.
I've driven a couple, but I've never made that kind of jump.
No, exactly.
You mean you wouldn't hop out of your little everyday car and drop in your Ferrari just to go for a razz?
Yeah.
Without having that time to get used to it. It's a worry. I get why people want to sign people up. I really do, but it worries me at the same time. It's not just like... Not that I think he's not capable. I do think he's capable. He's a cracking rider. He wouldn't be there if he wasn't.
That's exactly it. But again, we've said it before. He's not as good as Jack Miller was in Moto3. Jack Miller was that season that Jack Miller came up from Moto3 to MotoGP. He won 6 races that year. Exactly. He won, and I think he'd only been in the class 3 years. He missed out on the title by 2 points, and arguably he should have won. He was the faster rider for most of the year. It's only because he was a bit crash happy that he didn't.
He's still a bit crash happy.
He's still a bit crash happy. They've not beaten that out of him yet.
That Darryn Binder passion.
Yeah, well, he's Australian / Italian passion going on here.
Well, I was thinking the Ducati side of things.
Okay, that makes more sense. When you said it, I was like, God, Steve's geography is fucked. Like, that's terrible. He's definitely Australian.
Slapping some Italian passion into this Aussie.
But Darryn Binder's been in the class 6 or 7 years. He's won one race. He's had a handful of podiums. Like, he's not Jack Miller.
It's a scary, scary thing. I'm not sure I'm on board with it. I get it, but I'm not sure I'm on board with it. Mm-hmm. I really don't. I like the steps, progressive career progression.
Certainly.
That sort of says you have to go through all bases before you can get to the big time.
Yeah, and this is something that Aleix Espargaro was talking about. Aleix Espargaro did say that it's a bizarre decision, and he thinks that something like a super license, we've discussed this before in Formula One.
That's exactly it.
He said that a super license in MotoGP would make a lot of sense.
It does.
And
I can see it coming. I can see it coming. I think the FIM, Dorna, Ursa, everyone are going to start looking elsewhere for how they promote these younger riders, especially with safety. And safety is going to get bigger and more concerning as years go on, as these bikes get more powerful, faster. Tracks have got to modify and change.
Yeah.
And I got a feeling these bikes are going to change quicker than the circuits are going to be able
to. A lot of these circuits can't change.
No.
We've been seeing this. Misano this weekend cannot change. There are parts of Misano where if you want to get the runoff for one corner, you're actually going onto the track the other side.
Exactly.
Like, there's just no way to change it. So, yes. It'd be an interesting experiment, I think. Again, if Darryn Binder fucks this...
I think I'll be the last one.
He will be the last one. If he's okay... then if he's just okay, it could be the end of his Grand Prix career. Because, you know, in the current era we're living in now of MotoGP, there's so much talent coming up through the classes that you're not going to be given the 5, 6, 7 years Jack Miller has had in the class to become a race winner. You're not going to get that. And I know he won that race in 2016, but it's a weird race, blah, blah, blah. Darryn Binder's not going to be given the same chances as Miller. So he's kind of got 3 options, like I say. He either fucks it and the whole rule set changes. He does okay. And
he ticks over.
He ticks over. He does. Nicola Cuono gets 2 years and then maybe out of the class.
Yeah.
Or he could do very, very well, which I think is probably the least likely of the options, and then it will just be left as is.
Yeah. Yeah. If he does very well, then it justifies the move and it justifies bringing people up in the future.
Yeah.
But I think he will just be there.
Yeah, that's how I think. I think he will be much like Nicola Cuono was in the first year. And we will be saying the same things we said about Nicola Cuono, where we were like, he's a good rider, but he's not a MotoGP rider.
If I was Darryn, I'd be booking every test possible over this winter. I want that bike on track. Take me somewhere hot, get me some tyres, get me on this bloody machine.
He has to be, doesn't he? Like, he's got to be talking to Yamaha and thinking, like, give me an R1M at least, and just let me smash it around as much as I can and just get this done, because it's a huge, huge jump.
Super bike.
That's what I mean, an R1M, isn't it? It's that top spec.
Yeah.
Yamaha R1.
Anything, just get as close to a GP bike as you can and just go track days privately. Because we know these guys can have those bikes and take themselves off.
Well, they can do what they like. As long as they're not on a MotoGP bike, they can have as much fucking track time as they like.
Yep. I'd be prepping myself so hard just to get on that machine, to do as best you can. I wish him all the best in the world and I hope he succeeds.
Oh, I'm certainly with you on that.
Huge risk. Huge risk.
It's interesting. So Jack Miller, obviously the one man that has been through this before, was saying almost the complete opposite of what Aleix Espargaro was saying here. Jack Miller was saying, and I'm paraphrasing here, he was like, these MotoGP opportunities don't come around every day. Like, they are very rare, and you've really got to, if you want to do it, you've just got to jump on that bike and fucking do it.
Exactly. And it's only, like we said about the talent coming through the grids, it's going to get harder. So if he could potentially go into Moto2, let's say for 2 or 3 years, similar to results to what he's had in Moto3, and never get offered a MotoGP ride.
And that's exactly it. And he may never have been offered a Moto2 ride. I mean, look at John McPhee, who arguably, the two of them are quite similar in levels of talent here. We hear a lot about John McPhee being in the UK, watching BT Sport. They love John McPhee because he's a British rider. But, you know, he's won a few races. And yet he's still confirmed to be on Moto3 next year with Biaggi Racing.
Yeah, he's signed for the, I can't pronounce it exactly, Max Biaggi's team.
The Sterile Garda sponsored team, the milk sponsored team. I love the fact that it's sponsored by a milk company. That's my favourite thing.
Protein is good for the body. In promoting a healthy lifestyle.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I like that. It's probably more. It's better than having a Marlboro sponsored team, I suppose.
Yeah. Have a fact. Fill your lungs full of some carcinogens. Here you go.
Yeah, instead have pig juice. No, cow juice. Pig juice.
Pig
what
juice?
The fuck?
The hell?
I actually, going off on a tangent here, Steve, the other day I was thinking about pig juice being milk. And I was like, why do we not milk? You can get sheep milk, you can get goat milk. Like, why can't you get pig milk? So I started looking into this, and there's a very small subset of the internet that does produce pig milk, but it's very rare, and it was something to do with the content of it. It's hard to get pig milk, and it's even harder to make cheese out of, which is why we don't do it.
Right.
That was my tangent. Anyway.
There we go. Learn something new.
Yeah, pig juice. We don't go for pig juice, but it's sponsored by cow juice.
Oh dear.
But yes, Darryn Binder will be up in the MotoGP class. I am not optimistic, but like you, I wish him all the best, and I hope everything works out okay for him. I just don't think it's going to be more than a couple of years of experiment.
No. But good luck, mate. Let's see what you can do next year.
So on to another class here then, Steve. Not Moto3, not MotoGP, not even Moto2 here. Big news for the MotoE paddock.
Yes.
Energica, who we know make those electric bikes, are pulling out of MotoE after next season.
Yeah. That sort of came out of the blue. I've heard nothing about this, and all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, we're off.
Yeah, that's how I feel about it. I was a bit shocked that it was happening.
Yeah, but saying that, Ducati have announced.
Amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so on board with this. Ducati have announced that they will be taking over to replace Energica as the sole electric motorcycle provider for MotoE.
So something's been happening in the background. This has obviously been spoken about. Contracts have been talked about. Mm-hmm. And Ducati have already got mock-ups. Like,
yes, we saw
at least artist impressions what the bike is going to be like,
and which I'm sure will look nothing like what we've seen, because it's got that image, has it? It even looks fast just in the drawing. Exactly. They've put the go faster lines on it as if it's moving. Yeah,
there's some sleekness to it, and I'm sure Gigi's in there. He's like, add a piece here, and that'll make him.
Imagine the amount of aero that's going to be on these electric bikes.
Oh my god, it's going to be insane.
There'll be electric planes before you know it.
Yes, and it'll all be like sponsored by Ducati.
Yeah,
or a Ducati. I'm on board for it. I want to see what Ducati can do.
I'm very on board.
I'm also very on board with it. I'm sure within a few years, Ducati will have a hybrid road bike out or a fully electric road bike.
So they're saying, so this is the interesting thing, isn't it? Energica, we know, Energica are a full electric motorcycle company, and they have been producing electric motorcycles for a long time. I think they were involved in the TT0 back in the day.
I think so, yeah. There's something to do with that. Sort of like, 8 years ago? 8 years ago?
I can't remember. The TT0 was that. It was a weird era where it was a legitimate TT, and then they kind of went, this is shit. We're just going to make it like
insanely slow,
a bit of an exhibition race now, where it's not really a TT anymore.
It came out of nowhere. It's just like fully electric race. What?
Yeah, that's how I watched it the first year. I was like, huh. But they had multiple manufacturers in, and that's why it was a bit shit, because there were a couple that were really good and everyone else was crap.
Yeah, it was basically like, I think it was just a showcase.
That's exactly what it is.
More of an expo.
Yes, exactly. Much like MotoGP's early attempt at the electric motorcycle series.
Yes.
But Ducati, unlike Energica, don't actually produce an electric motorcycle yet.
No, so it's got to be... You've got one winter.
Well, no, it comes in 2023.
Oh,
next year is full Energica still, so they've got 1 year. So it's 18 months at this point to produce
a hell of an ask.
Wow, isn't it just? But they are saying that they want to produce an electric motorcycle. They are saying the future of motorcycles is electric.
It is.
And the best way to produce a great electric motorcycle is to get it involved in competitive racing.
Yeah, they're right. Absolutely. I'm completely on board with that.
I'm so on board with it. This is how car technology came about to start with Formula One and stuff. Like, it really pushed the envelope. And we know Formula One still pushes the envelope of car technology, but it's not applicable now like it was before.
You imagine dropping a half watered down Formula One engine in a road car.
it would still be the fastest thing we've ever driven.
Exactly. Imagine getting hold of that.
But they're some of the most efficient engines in the world.
Exactly.
The Formula One engine, 1.6 turbo that produces 1,000 horsepower.
Yeah,
and like it's madness.
If you dialed that down to your average everyday Joe's car, imagine the miles per gallon you do.
You could be driving around your everyday car with a 250cc engine.
Yeah, you'd just be like poodling, and you still overtake.
Yeah,
everyone.
exactly.
It's definitely a field that I think has been ignored, and we need to look at bringing some of the spec down.
Yes, certainly.
We've got hybrid road cars, we've got fully electric road cars, but you could definitely make them more efficient.
Definitely, and we will be. That's what the technology is going towards now, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yes, Ducati are saying they want their fully electric motorcycle to be built with on-track race technology. They're saying that they will not be mass producing an electric motorcycle in 2025, but it will be pre-2030 that you and I will be able to go out and buy a fully electric Ducati.
I can't wait. 9 years. By the end of this decade, what we're going to be able to buy, walk into a dealership and buy, because this is just going to spur on other manufacturers as well, because they will just get left behind.
Exactly, and I can imagine in the future of MotoE, it will be a multi-manufacturer championship.
That would be incredible. So just... we've always said that the electric will take over one day from internal combustion engines as the pinnacle of racing.
Yeah.
But I'm really looking forward to that day where you've got two series running alongside each other. So we can watch the GP and then we can watch the GPE.
Yes, exactly.
And that will just be nuts.
Yeah.
I won't know what to do with myself.
It's going to be too much.
Yes.
What I really like about it is this will make electric motorcycles cool.
Yes.
Because I think you would be hard-pressed to find a motorcycle fan that doesn't think Ducatis are cool.
Yeah.
Like, they're just cool motorbikes, whether or not they're the shit Ducatis of the past. They look nice, they sound nice. Yes, they break down every 3 miles, but they're still wonderful machines up to the Ducatis of today, which are just wonderful machines.
Insane. It's insanely good looking things.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's try to assassinate a net.
Yeah, I could just see you swiping. I was like, what's happening here then?
It's just that stroke kicking in. Yeah, you look at Ducatis now. I mean, some Ducatis before like the 916 era were really, really nice.
Yeah.
But then post 916, it goes mental. Where they really did just like every Monday morning, it was like, here's your weekly allowance of LSD. There's your crayons.
There we go.
There it is. I haven't forgotten. And just go for it.
Yeah.
And they let guys loose. And what they did was just break the envelope in terms of like design. And now look at the V4 Panigale, the super leggera you can get.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just nuts. All right, the price tag is pretty rich.
Yes.
But it's always been the case. You want the pretty exotic Italian things, you pay for the nose for it. And why not?
And this is, like I say, it's just making electric motorbikes cool.
Yeah.
And I'm so on board with anything electric being cool.
Imagine when we get the V4 Panigale, but it's electric.
Oh,
and if they make it,
well,
look
I mean,
like
it wouldn't
that,
be a V4, would it, to start with?
No, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because, if you had that looking thing,
Panigale E. Panigale.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. There's your marketing right away. Heard it here first. Patent that bastard. Get our names on it. If it looks like that, it's a winner.
Yeah.
All day long, and people will queue up to buy them, to see them.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. And other manufacturers are going to have to keep up.
Yes, certainly.
We know that, like the Italian Exotica, or not even the Italian Exotica, but the bikes, like let's use MV for example.
Also Italian, to be fair.
Yeah, I know. It produced like the F4, the F5.
Yeah. And that really nice Lewis Hamilton version, the LH44. Beautiful machine.
Pristine. But you're going to get that Exotica that comes out. It's always going to be pricey, but you need the average Joe stuff that we could just hop on and go buy.
Yeah.
But it will all be nuts.
Yes.
There's bikes out there. I mean, Harley do the really nice electric one at the minute.
Yeah, we saw with The Long Way Up, the Harleys did that, and that was amazing.
Yeah, they got the road bike you should go out and buy now. And other manufacturers are making electric bikes, but nothing yet sets off that poster on the wall kind of... Oof.
It's not the Ferrari of the motorcycle world.
No, not yet. It's getting there. They will get there. But it needs someone like Ducati to energise it, infuse it with that piece of passion.
Yeah, exactly.
We keep going about Italian passion, right? That must be, I don't know.
Our search history is going to be fucked by the end of tonight, Steve.
It's going to be nuts.
You're going to be getting emails from BT being like, you need to stop Googling this stuff, mate.
Yes. There's Pornhub for this kind of thing. Big plug there.
We'll be raking in that big Pornhub money going on here.
Send us some t-shirts. Wander around Sainsbury's, Pornhub.
Oh my God! Can you imagine if we got some Pornhub t-shirts out of nowhere? Would you wear one?
Yeah.
Would you wear? You'd just walk around wearing a Pornhub t-shirt.
If it was free. Because then, so everyone's going to be on Pornhub by Steve.
Everyone's going to be like, what the fuck is he wearing? Imagine walking around Sainsbury's with a Pornhub t-shirt on. That'd be so good.
You get people talking.
It really would be golden.
Especially if you turn up like a big flash watch. Where's he getting all this money?
Maybe we should release a bunch of t-shirts in our brand, well, in the Pornhub branding, but just FTLM MotoGP.
Oh, just get people looking. That would be good.
That would be great.
Oh, dear.
There's a future plan, mate. We'll worry about that next year, eh?
Yes. Let's get this year out of the way first.
Anyway, off Italian Exotica, which I'm sure if you search on Pornhub will come up with something wonderful.
Email us, let us
know. Include links. No, don't.
No, don't include links.
More Italian passion, Steve. Rumours of Davide Brivio returning to MotoGP.
Yeah, that snuck out of nowhere as well.
Yeah, I'm not really sure how or when this happened, but people are talking about it now.
Yeah, I mean, I don't follow F1. Is he happy over there? Have you spoken to him recently?
Have I spoken to him recently? He's actually stopped answering my calls.
Right, that'd be if you call him 1,500 times in a day.
Yeah, it was a lot of why aren't you calling me back? A lot of texting, like why haven't you replied? It's some problematic stalking behaviour on my part, I think. I've been watching a lot of You on Netflix, and I've been taking a lot of tips from Joe.
Okay. Has he moved house as well?
He's moved house a couple of times, actually. But thankfully, I know the postman, so I've been getting the address, and that's fine.
Taking a dark turn.
But yes, Davide Brivio is rumoured to be returning to MotoGP. It's funny, in Formula 1, actually, he's just not spoken about at all. He's never mentioned it in any of the broadcasts. He's Alpine. I very rarely see him on TV. Like, he's just seems to be almost just non-existent as far as the Formula 1 world is. That's
quite strange.
Think.
For someone who's done so much for another pinnacle sport, that his presence would have been noted.
And I really thought it was going to make a difference. I thought it was going to make a huge difference to the Alpine team, but
maybe it's just one of those things where, he's reached the pinnacle of his career in his chosen sport, and has looked at this other challenge and probably got there and thought, actually, you know what? Either I can't do this, or this is not the challenge I thought it was going to be.
I wonder if a lot of it as well is Formula 1 is much more... They're bigger teams, to be fair.
They are bigger teams.
When you look at the top teams, I don't know how many people work for Alpine, for example, but it's thousands. Mercedes have 2,000 staff on board just for their Formula 1 team.
That's
so
nuts.
You imagine Alpine are going to have 1,500 at least.
Yeah.
Suzuki have 400 maybe?
Yeah,
so it's just
along that line.
A massively different sized company to start with, many more layers of management. And I imagine this is having a big part in it. He just cannot have the impact and the influence that he had with Suzuki.
No.
Yes, there seems to be rumours that obviously we know Suzuki are looking for someone to replace him with, and who better to replace him with than him.
Himself?
Yeah, exactly.
But that won't help. If that job's there, and we know he parted on good terms, if he's got a friend who's there or someone who's like who employed him before, it's just like, we'll come back.
Yeah, exactly.
That starts turning that cog in your mind.
And especially, and I imagine Suzuki as well, like Suzuki Japan, are going to be like, wow, he's left and this season's been shit.
Yeah, well, yeah.
If we can get him back,
what I was thinking to say.
Coaching, let's get him back.
Look at the results. Pre-Davide, post-Davide.
Yeah, exactly.
It speaks for itself. You get Davide back, all right, the results might take another season to get back again.
Yeah.
But happy days, you get him back, jobs are good.
I like the idea of Suzuki having a before Davide and an after Davide era as well. Very like the Jesus character going on here.
I've risen.
Yeah, exactly. I tried the Formula 1 thing, but I've risen back to MotoGP. I'm here.
Back.
He'll be back in Easter. He'll be back.
He'll be back at Easter. I don't know. I don't really. I haven't heard a lot about it. It was the first I heard about it the weekend, as I'm sure many people did.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a lot of rumours at the moment, but I mean, it's a lot of rumours. These rumours always make sense. That's why they're rumours, but it does make sense.
I say they always. They normally transpire to have quite a bit of heft behind them.
Yes.
So I'm sure something's going on behind the scenes. Probably most of it is probably Suzuki approached him, realizing that they're.
I'm not even sure it's been a formal thing yet. I wonder if a lot of this is just a lot of speculation on the part of the media and stuff. But
someone's probably papped him talking to us.
Well, he was there this weekend, wasn't he? He was with Suzuki this weekend at the MotoGP grid. So
but prior to that, someone's probably seen him with someone, put two and two together, and all of a sudden, an explosion of rumours.
They've probably just seen him driving a Suzuki Swift and been like, "Oh, he's back."
Yeah, he's he's not in an Alpine.
Yeah, exactly.
Just nicked a Formula One car for the weekend. Let's see.
I mean, Alpine do create high spec sports cars.
They do.
So
is it attacking you now?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Tim's suddenly gone off on a mad tangent.
Just like swinging my arms around here, trying desperately not to hit the mic.
It's because we got the window open, so
that's
cool
exactly
it down
the
in
case.
this insanely warm house.
That's fine. I'm sort of hoping it just flies over to that spider that's still not moved.
It is quite close to that spider. It has landed right next to it.
Yeah, so hopefully the spider will just snack on it. That's fine.
The spider's not showing much life at the minute.
No, I'm not convinced she's still alive, Steve, sadly.
No.
I'm also not going to poke her just in case she is.
I wouldn't poke it.
No.
It looks evil. We've had those nasty false widow things in here before.
Yeah, that's fair.
As I showed you the video.
Scary stuff. And I said to her at the time, I was like, that's pretty cool, because it is cool. I'm also not got two kids running around. It's pretty scary when you've got two kids running around.
I don't know what damage these false widows do.
I mean, they're unlikely to kill you, but I think it would be a nasty reaction, especially for a kid.
Yeah. I picked it up. I didn't realise. It's only when I put it down. I was like, oh, it's a false widow.
Whoops.
Yeah. I was like, oh dear. I've seen 3 in here.
Wow, that's quite impressive.
Yeah, that is quite impressive. I didn't see any last year. It was all the year before.
It's because we insist on having the window open, mate. They're just creeping into the
They're
warmth.
just coming in like, let's go teabag him later. When he's asleep.
Ooh, teabagged by a spider.
Let's move on.
I was really going to start, but I liked the silent pause there for a moment.
My brain couldn't work fast enough, and you stopped. So I was like, oh, we're in trouble.
So, Steve, the big news before we dive into our full race review here, it's a fucking long show already, my friend.
I was going to say.
The big news before we dive into the race review is we have a 2021... I'm raising my arms here.
I was going to say, we need to record this and film it.
A 2021 MotoGP World Champion.
We do, mate. Mr. Fabio Quartararo.
Fabio Quartararo has done it to become the first ever French MotoGP World Champion.
What an accolade. Good on him.
Yes, quite. Raising the number of nationalities that have won the MotoGP World Championship from 6 to 7.
Yeah, good.
So he did it in... It wasn't the most exciting race at all. We'll get into that.
No.
But he's there. The celebration was wonderful. I enjoyed it a lot.
I started down the road and I thought, oh, this is a bit...
I thought it was a bit much. Yeah, that's how I felt about it to start with. I was like, come on, bro. I'm like, this is your first championship.
As it went on, I quite liked it. And one of the commentators did pull up a good point. He's a showman. And we've lacked a natural young showman.
We've had Marquez for a long time, but Marquez doesn't feel right doing it. He does the showman things, but it was never like Rossi.
No, Rossi did it well.
Yeah.
And others have done it well. Like Lorenzo did some good celebrations.
Oh, I don't know. I think Lorenzo's were a bit try-hard as well, to be honest.
They were quite try-hard, but they suited him. Whereas Marquez has felt very pushed into it.
Yes, that's fair. Because Marquez was... trying to become the next Valentino Rossi and arguably on track succeeding.
Yeah,
whereas
definitely.
Probably with the global acclaim, probably not succeeding quite as much.
But Quartararo is the first young champion. I'll say the first. Probably not. But he's now champion in a time where social media is booming.
Yeah, he's the first social media champion. You're right, actually.
And he's young and he's flamboyant.
And popular. Like Johan Mir is young and of the social media era as well.
But he's not as popular.
He's not as popular as Quartararo.
No, but he's got a good social media presence, and that is something you're going to need going forward now.
Oh, certainly, it's all part of the branding exercise now.
Yeah. So to watch his celebration as it went on, I'm on board with this. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, I liked it a lot actually.
Yeah.
It felt a bit much to start with, but like you say, the more it went on, you're like, actually, and I don't know how much of that was Fabio and how much that was Dorna.
Well, we had this conversation pre-record, didn't we? That I think a lot of that might have been Dorna. Sort of pushing it on, because there were times where he looked a bit lost. Like, what am I doing?
Yeah, he's like, I don't have a fucking clue what's going on. Stop here. Okay, I'll stop here.
Yeah.
And then that really cool video played on the long screen in front of him. That was a lot of fun.
A lot of fireworks.
And then there was the dance here bit. I didn't see the dance here thing the first time round, but there was he stood in a box that said dance here, so he did his little floss. Yeah. And then the devil popped out and danced next to him in augmented reality.
It was well worked, but you couldn't. It had obviously been thought about.
Yeah.
So I think it's what we need. And if he's going to become, let's put it in, see where he's a multi-time world champion.
I can see him winning one or two more.
Yeah. If he's going to ride the social media crest, he's exactly what the sports needs.
Yes.
For pushing it forward.
Definitely.
So yeah, crowned, sealed, helmet looked on point.
I liked the golden helmet a lot.
I did like
I didn't like the number 1 that they stuck on the front of his 20, though. I thought that looked a bit shit.
That did look a bit shit. But we'll forgive them for that.
That's fair. Everything else was fun. So
yeah.
They definitely had the acid and the crayons for the augmented reality devil coming out there.
Or
so
just
you can't argue they tried.
Yeah, someone sat there, just put down the opium pipe and was like, cracker. Cracking idea. And was bloody lucky remembered it the next morning.
Yeah, quite.
Oy, I'd have been like...
A lot of sketching, I imagine, and trying to translate their sketches the following morning.
Yes, a lot of like, what the fuck have I done?
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's not... Change that train of thought.
But this is just an example this year, Steve, of Yamaha just dominating motorcycle racing.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing a little bit of domination before, but not like this. I mean, you've written it down here in the notes. We said, like, Yamaha are crushing it in the racing world. British superbikes.
Yep.
World superbikes. Probably. I was like, yeah, top racks. No pressure now, mate.
Yeah, exactly. He's 30 points in the lead with three races to go. Yeah. 1 round, 3 races.
That's it, yeah.
But they're not all 25-point races because the sprint race isn't worth 25 points. I can't remember. I think it's 60-something points is on offer.
Basically, it's only he can lose it.
Yes.
But you imagine that's a lot of pressure now. You look elsewhere, they've wrapped up Moto America.
Yeah, they've done Moto America. They've done World Supersport, I think. Yeah. They are just on one, mate. Absolutely unstoppable this year. Yamaha, I don't know. If you are fucking in charge of Yamaha right now or you are working for Yamaha Racing Corp, good Lord, you're in for a good bonus this year. Just
a little wee bit. Milk it in.
Yeah, quite.
Whatever you do, bask in this glory. Because will it come again? When was the last time? I forgot to look this up.
Never.
I don't think
it's the answer. I don't think anyone has had the domination that Yamaha are having this year.
It's nuts. Absolutely nuts. From a machine... come on. Bloody brain. For a machine that probably isn't anywhere near as good as what it could be.
I mean, it's not the best MotoGP bike on the grid.
No.
It might be the best World Superbike at the moment. It's certainly not the best MotoGP bike.
No.
But they are absolutely dominating all racing at the moment.
Yeah.
For a company that like make keyboards and shit, they're doing all right.
They're not doing bad in the motorcycling world. Yeah. We'll give them that. They're doing okay. Imagine being the top level Yamaha boss who's looking at those books and just sat there lording it up. My God, bask in it.
Yeah.
Any Yamaha employee, even down at the Yamaha dealerships, next year their advertising is going to be nuts.
Yeah.
Go for it. Bask in your glory.
Yeah, imagine that. We've got, like, you've already mentioned them, we've got a Yamaha dealership in town here. They are going to have great posters up next year.
Oh, they have some awesome posters. But even the smaller stuff, like there's DRD's is a tiny little place that mainly do off-road bikes.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter. I have to look that up, actually, see how Yamaha are doing in the off-road world.
I've got absolutely no idea, mate. I don't follow off-road racing at all.
I don't really follow off-road racing, but for flat track racing...
Well, for short circuit racing, they're absolutely crushing it.
Can't knock it. But yeah, every single Yamaha dealer next year is going to have some amazing...
Yeah, definitely.
Amazing billboards.
Okay, Steve. On that note, let's take a quick break. When we come back, we'll dive into Moto3, Moto2, and then into our full MotoGP race review.
Let's do it, buddy.
So, guys, bear with us for just one moment, and we will be right back with you. And we are back. Thank you for bearing with us there, guys. I have a fresh beer.
Hey.
Thank you. And Steve also has a fresh beer. So life is looking good at the moment.
I have got a beer.
Steve's breaking all of the new rules.
We are breaking all the new rules, but fuck it.
Rightio, Steve. We've got about an hour till I need to fuck off to get the train. So let's dive straight into this.
Let's hit it hard.
We'll dive straight into the Moto3 review, the top 5 finishes in Moto3. Then we'll go through Moto2 and dive into our full MotoGP race review.
We shall.
So Moto3 looked like this. 5th place was Stefano Neppa. 4th place was one Darryn Binder, who we spoke a lot about earlier. 3rd place, Pedro Acosta. 2nd was Gianni Masia, his teammate. And 1st was Dennis Foggia. This championship is closing up in Moto3, Steve.
It is really getting tight.
I think there's maybe 20 points in it now.
It's close. It's going down to Valencia.
100%.
Yeah.
Unless something weird happens for Dennis Foggia coming into Portimao, this will be a race that goes down to Valencia.
Absolutely.
And Moto2 probably also going to go to Valencia.
Looking that way.
Moto2, a top 5 finishers looked like this. Jorge Navarro was in 5th. Celestino Vietti finished 4th in that wonderful Ciao Valle, or Grazie Valle, Grazie Valle livery.
Now you said that, I really wish they had like Grazie and Ciao on either side. Mm-hmm. So it was like before and after.
Yeah, it would have been really cool.
That would have been really cool. But, I'm not a choreographer or come up with any good ideas.
Not a graphic designer, sadly, for MotoGP liveries. 3rd place was Aaron Canet, 2nd place Augusto Fernandez, and 1st place, taking his 3rd win of the year, but the first win for a long, long time, Sam Lowes.
Yes.
And the Moto2 Championship really hotted up as well. Raul Fernandez looked like he was going to win the race, take the big 25 points, but he crashed. Big, scary crash.
That was a huge crash. Yeah. A massive thing. That bike was obliterated.
And he just crashed from himself, cold tyre, from the lead. And while this was going on, Remy Gardner had got a long lap penalty for wiping out Somkat Chantra.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
Thank you.
Yeah, it took me a little while to get. I was a little way behind you. I could see the guy's face, but I couldn't remember his name. And then you rescued me.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, he wiped out Chantra in a fucking ridiculous overtake and a ridiculous move. Got the long lap penalty, but still recovered to gain points. And I think goes in with an 18-point advantage now into the final 2 rounds. It's going to be tight. Essentially, though, Raul Fernandez is requiring Remy Gardner to not finish on the podium for at least one of the 2 next races, and Raul Fernandez has to win both of them.
Yeah, pressure's on Raul.
It really is now, and it's a shame because Raul Fernandez has been the faster of the 2 all year, but certainly not the most consistent.
No,
he's had 3 crashes throughout the year, and they have cost him big now.
Exactly, yeah, they really have cost him big time.
So that's also a championship that's going to go down to Valencia, and an exciting championship. Arguably more exciting, I think, than the Moto3 Championship, although both are really exciting.
Good. It's quite nice, although we've seen one title wrapped up, that we've got 2 left to go.
Yes.
Like in the past, we've never really spoken about Moto2, Moto3. But no, it's hard to ignore now.
No, that's it. You and I used to just chat about before we recorded. We'd just chat shit for an hour about those and not even record it. So it's nice to now actually have this as part of the show.
Yeah, it's so hard to ignore these. I was about to say lesser categories, but they're not lesser.
The smaller categories.
Smaller categories. Yeah. Oh, fuck it. He's gone again.
Let's keep going then, Steve. On to MotoGP.
I apologise so much, people.
So the MotoGP race, Steve, it really wasn't the most exciting race.
No, it wasn't at all.
It was actually rather dull. I found it quite boring, and I watched it again this morning while I was finishing off these notes and nearly fell asleep watching it. It really wasn't an exciting race at all. It was a proper race of attrition, though.
It was.
We saw so many people crashed, actually. Only 15 riders finished. So, if you finished, you scored points, which was nice. But it felt a bit like being back in, 2011.
Yeah. It did feel very past-esque.
Yes.
But, you're right. It wasn't a thriller.
No.
But it was a thriller for other reasons.
Yeah.
But brought about not by entertaining racing, by other people's mistakes. So
that's exactly it. We'll run through, as we normally do, Steve, we'll run through the manufacturers in the order that we have deemed their performances in. And it starts with KTM. KTM being probably the worst performing factory of the weekend.
I think you're right.
We will start with the 2 Tech 3 boys, because this is nice and easy. Iker Lecuona qualified 8th for a cracking qualifying, to be fair.
Qualifying.
Got through Q1 and looked excellent while doing it. And Danilo Petrucci qualified in 9th as well. Both of them just hammering these mixed conditions.
They liked it. They got on well with it.
It performed very, very well. Iker Lecuona, well, actually, neither of them finished the race. They both crashed out. Danilo Petrucci we'll start with there. He was wiped out by Mir very early on in the race, and that was pretty much it done. I enjoyed the wholesome moment of him and Mir hugging, though, in the gravel trap, as if to be like, you know what, shit happens, let's just hug it out and move on.
Yeah, I think a big bunch of that was Mir was like, oh, he's bigger than me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to offer him a hug, and then if he punches me, at least I don't look like the bad guy.
Airbag's not gone off yet, I'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Airbag has gone off, I'll be all right.
Yeah, I'm quite well cushioned. I'm good.
Yeah. No, that was a nice mark of respect, although that was, Mir's fault.
It's certainly Mir's fault. Mir just lost the front while overtaking him, and it just wiped them both out.
Yeah, that was a nice show of respect in the gravel.
Yeah, the annoying thing is Mir had just received double long lap penalty, so didn't really need to be making that overtake to start with.
No.
But it was done at that point.
Unnecessary, but this is what happened.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and Danilo Petrucci said the same thing. He was like, "It is what it is. These things happen. Let's just move on."
Yeah, let's face it. Petrucci's not had the best year. We know he's off at the end of the season.
He's had a fucking atrocious year, mate. But he's still clearly a nice guy. He's still willing to just hug it out and move on.
He's still that gentle giant.
Yeah, exactly. Iker Lecuona also crashed out of the race after an amazing qualifying. He just crashed by himself, though. It's just one of those weird crashes. It's such a shame for Tech 3 because it was a really, really good weekend. It was really building up.
Two really good results.
Yeah, two really good qualifying results, and it was nice to just see those orange bikes, mate.
I know. I love it. I said it when we went to Silverstone. The telly doesn't do justice to how bright they are.
Yeah. You
see it in the flesh. Oh, my God, that is amazing. It's so stunning. It's finally nice to see him on telly.
Yes.
We had him in qualifying, we saw him all through practice, and now he got to the race, and we're like, we get to see him again, and then never go on. It's like, come on.
That's it. I just really hope this livery stays for next year.
I do too. So, Tech 3 boys, don't get the crayons and the acid out.
Yeah, just leave it. I'm sure it won't, because I'm sure this is a very expensive endeavour for KTM. I'm sure they will be looking for a title sponsor. But this, like I say, is my favourite looking machine of all time.
It is really, really nice. Like I say, the telly doesn't do it justice. You need to go to a race and just see that thing in the flesh. It is amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to have to try and see one at some point.
Next year, mate. We'll go.
Next year. We'll find some time to go next year, mate. I'm going to have to
drag you away.
The factory KTM boys then. Miguel Oliveira qualified 5th and seemed to be back after being off the boil for a very, very long time. Miguel Oliveira and was racing at the sharp end for much of the race. He finally admitted that his drop in form was due to the hand injury he sustained in Austria.
Yep.
And we're saying that, the bone is bruised, so although it's structurally sound, the breaks have healed, the bruising is severe and it's just been causing him so much pain. But he's looking much better.
It really did look like a return to form. All the KTMs, it really did like the mixed conditions.
Yes.
Like I say, it just levels out the playing field enough. And Oliveira, admitted he's gone off the boil. Nice to see him back.
Yes, certainly it was nice to see him back, especially now with Portimao coming up. So he's going to be, I think, swapped into many people's fantasy squads. He's been swapped into mine. And yours, actually. We both did that earlier.
Yeah, so who you got? Oliveira. Oh, yeah. Good shout.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully we see him have a really nice run at Portimao.
Yeah, I hope so.
But yeah, like we say, he did crash out with 5 laps to go by the end of the race there. He was not fighting for the podium, but was close.
Nope.
It was looking like to be a really solid result for him, but I honestly, Steve, I've watched this race twice now and I still don't really know when he crashed or how it happened.
He crashed roughly at the same time as someone else who was leading the race, and because that certain person was involved in a title race, all the focus went on them.
Okay, so we just missed the Oliveira crash.
I don't even think it was the same corner, just had his own crash, dropped down the order, out, but because someone else crashed, all the focus was on them.
Sort of story of this race, though, wasn't it? Especially when we got to the end of the race here, where there was just so much going on and so many important things that they didn't know what to show us or what was going on, and it was it's one of those races that we could have watched. You could have watched, especially the cool down laps 3 times, and just been just watch different cameras for it.
But exactly what we spoke about last week happened. Well, it didn't happen, but one of the things that we spoke about we feared would happen did, and that was certainly too much happened at the end of the race.
Yeah, and it was too much. It was just there was 3 big storylines which we will get to that were just dominating, and they just didn't know which ones to be showing us.
No, we spoke about it in the Facebook group. Social media's gone nuts with it.
Yeah,
it's hard to escape what happened, and I think it's a real shame. But we'll discuss that later.
Yeah, we will be getting onto that. So just carrying on the KTM thread here, Brad Binder. The only KTM to finish the race, but he did qualify in 20th. A terrible qualifying.
Over the course of this year, Brad Binder's been
he's been the Sunday man.
Yeah, he's been the Sunday man, the saviour of KTM, if you will.
Yes, certainly.
The Quartararo and the Marquez of KTM.
Yeah. And a lot of that comes down to Miguel's injury.
Yes, it does. But when he qualified in 20th, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, and it looked like you're like, how can he recover from this? And then Sunday morning, it went from bad to worse. He crashed not even on his warm-up lap, he crashed on the way to the grid.
Yes.
And then,
like, what the hell? How does that happen?
Exactly. But that's just shows you what the track conditions were like, mate.
Yeah,
it was
it's
cold,
too cold.
Really, really
I'm
cold.
quite concerned about Portimao. What it's going to be like when we get there.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
You know, that track is coastal. Well, quite close to the coast.
Yeah. Is it much further south?
It's not much further south, but it's got potential. If you let's say we,
I imagine it must be quite a bit further south than Misano, to be fair.
It's got to be. I just think where it sits, where Portugal is, the potential for the weather to be bad. I don't know what the weather is like this time of year out there, where it's wet, where it's just cold.
No, I've never been to Portugal in October. I've only ever been to Portugal in the middle of the summer, and it was like 40 degrees, and I got some of the worst sunburn I've ever experienced in my entire life.
I just can't imagine it's going to be much warmer.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see.
I just think some of these corners. Let's say the track is exactly the same temperature, and some of these corners where you drop off down those elevation changes, it's going to be insane.
Yeah, definitely.
So I don't know. I'm a little bit concerned. We've got a weekend to prepare ourselves before we get to the race, so
yeah,
to see
we'll see what happens. I imagine it'll be quite a soft tyre allocation going on.
I think everybody's going to be running this soft.
Yeah.
If you don't, you're just brave.
Yeah,
that'll be Marquez with a hard front.
It's the front that gives him the braking stability, though, isn't it? You just got to get the heat into it and hope for the best. But Brad Binder finished 11th in the end, so it was a good recovery ride. To be fair, he started at the back of the grid because of his crash, and then managed to recover to 11th to score.
Not bad.
A handful of points.
Yeah.
I've got a sneeze coming, Steve. That ain't good. I'm just going to hold my nose and hope for the best here.
Okay.
But imagine with Brad Binder's performance, much like the year as a whole, really, what could he have done if he'd qualified well?
Exactly. This is like the story of the tape, isn't it? Every race, I think we're saying this, he doesn't qualify that well.
No.
And, if he could have qualified, he made up 9 places. Yes, people fell in front of him. But let's say he qualified 9 places better. And was in 11th. There were still people fell off. Not as many, but still people fell off in front of him from there. You're talking a top 5 finish.
Yeah, quite.
So it's the tail of the tape, isn't it? Qualify better.
Yeah, exactly.
We say that about nearly everyone.
Yep.
You just good qualifying, and at certain tracks, qualify makes
it makes a massitive difference.
Yeah.
It makes a massive difference to most tracks, to be fair.
Yeah,
there are some that are worse than others. I think Portimao is a very wide track. It's a track you can you do a lot of overtaking on. Come to Valencia, though, that's going to be a tough one. If they don't qualify well, you're fucked.
That's it. Yeah, it's all about qualifying. You want to be on the front 2 rows, and that's it.
Yeah.
Anywhere else, don't bother.
Yeah, although we saw 2015, Rossi from the back of the grid finish 4th, carving through everyone except his teammate and the 2 Repsol Hondas.
Yeah, but that was just an exception. That was just a thing of beauty.
And that was also riding for a championship.
Yeah, so we've seen one-offs in the past. I mean, like some of the things Rossi's done in the past, different machines. Different era, if you will.
Certainly a different era. Just a different class of the field at the time.
Exactly.
Even 2015, the bikes were nowhere near as competitive. As a whole, the whole grid wasn't as competitive as it is now.
No, absolutely not. I've completely forgotten where we're going with this.
Aprilia, then.
Aprilia
it is.
Saved me again.
So Aprilia fielded 3 bikes officially for the weekend, but Lorenzo Savadori, who was competing on the 2022 machine, broke his collarbone during practice, so didn't qualify or compete in the race.
No.
But the 2022 machine looks a lot different to the 2021 machine.
It does. I only caught a quick glimpse of it. But even straight off the bat, it looks different.
It's still clearly an Aprilia.
Oh, yeah.
But it's a slim Aprilia. Like
it looks like it's been on a diet.
Yes, it does. The aero isn't as in your face. It's like an Aprilia that's shaved its moustache a little bit. It's got rid of the handlebars, but it's still got a good tash going on.
That's a good way of putting it. It's had a nice trim. It's been down the barbers and had a tidy up.
Yeah, exactly.
Much like what I need. I haven't shaved for a week.
Haven't
been able to. Darryn let myself loose with a razor.
That's okay, mate. No one's judging. I like the silver fox look you've got going on.
I didn't realise this is the longest I've had it for a while. It's probably about 10 mil long. And I'm normally quite clean shaven, a bit stubbly. I didn't realise how grey I've got.
Yeah, it's good, mate. I like that you've got like the normal sort of a blonde, strawberry blonde goatee, and then even up on the cheeks, it's kind of the blonde, strawberry blonde. But then from your jawbone down, it's just
neck.
silver, and you've just got a silver neck.
White, as you like. But it sort of adds to the weirdness.
I did see the garden centre in town looking for a Santa Claus this winter.
I haven't really got the belly.
I actually looked into this. It seems to be quite well paying, and they're offering a padded suit. So
that'll do. I'm there.
I think I might apply for it, Steve. You can see a Santa with dreadlocks, can't you?
Santa with dreads.
There'd be me just handing out like CBD gummies to all the kids for their snacks.
You would definitely be the alternative Santa. What do you want this year? I want a car. Fuck that. You're getting CBD oil.
Exactly. Turning up in like my checkered Vans or something as well.
Yeah, exactly. Your patched up jeans.
Yeah.
Santa's on a budget this year.
Lads. I have quite muddy jeans today, Steve, but that's because I was putting up tents earlier, so I was kneeling down a lot.
You're going camping.
Yes, exactly.
Brave boy. I might disappear fishing for a night if I'm allowed.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's a bit of R&R chill.
That makes sense.
I don't think my phone would stop ringing. Are you still alive?
You're like, can confirm, still alive.
Yes, just get one of those buttons. Still here.
Yeah.
Still here. Still here. That's why I can't press it.
This will be like a hey Siri, please tell Sarah I'm okay.
Oh dear, I shouldn't joke. Should not take the piss because Jesus, some of the people I was in hospital with. Oh.
Yeah, that's fair. It's really not a laughing matter, is it? But it's laugh or cry, Steve. We both know from being on the deep end of things, it's laugh or cry.
Yes, absolutely.
Aprilia. We're no longer in laugh or cry territory with Aprilia now. It's just sort of still looking good. Maverick Vinales qualified.
Annoying.
It is annoying, but I like it. I like it a lot. Maverick Vinales qualified 19th. Finished the race in 8th, though.
I know.
Stealthily good finish. How the fuck did this happen? We sort of missed this going on in the race.
It's because everyone was looking at the front. Again,
that's exactly it.
The cameraman was focused on one thing because he was told to.
Yeah.
And everything else, because we'll get on to somebody else who finished well.
Yeah.
And no one mentioned that.
No, not until the end of the race. Exactly.
This is the trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's
just so many storylines happening all at once.
But there's one dominant major storyline everyone's interested in. If, let's say, it was race 4, nothing's really going on, the camera will pan around.
Yeah, exactly.
Race direction will go, oh, he's doing well, pop him on the screen.
Yeah.
But because of what we saw, all of a sudden, Maverick's meteoric rise from the bottom to the top was just overshadowed by everything going on at the front.
Yeah, exactly.
But we want to see what he's doing on the Aprilia.
Yeah, that's it.
It is really annoying. And they've come on leaps and bounds. I mean, we qualified 19th to finish the race in 8th.
It's a fucking great result, exactly.
Absolutely happy days.
And really only a couple of tenths off his teammate at the end of the race.
I didn't realise how close he was.
No, I didn't until I was looking at the final timings and I was like, whoa, that's so close.
That is very, very close. But then again, Aleix qualified 11th, finished the race in 7th.
Yeah, exactly. Just another solid performance from the Aprilia factory, full stop. Like, things are just looking good at Aprilia now.
I want to look back over Aleix's... I must remind myself to do it. So I need to get a to-do list up on the desk here to remind myself at the end of the year. I want to look at Aleix's results this year compared to last year.
Oh, amazing.
I mean, contrast.
Well, we just, come the end of the year, mate, we'll compare his finishing position to his finishing position this year. I would, as a hazard a guess as he is, 50% more points than he had last year. He will be, I don't know, as a guess here, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 places higher up the table than he was last year.
I think you're absolutely right. I mean, just a sudden change.
And it's amazing to think that if he'd have finished 7th last year, we'd be singing his praises. And this year we're like, 7th, that's pretty good. Well done, Aprilia.
Happy days.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like, oh my God, Aprilia have got a 7th. What the fuck? This is amazing. Like, it shows you how quickly it changes, man.
It does.
Expectations change fast.
They do, yeah. Things soon change in this sport. It's very fickle.
Yes, certainly.
It's very, very fickle sport.
Speaking of things changing quickly, Steve, Suzuki. And specifically the outgoing world champion in Johan Mir, qualified 18th, did not finish in the race. Had a jump start and was given a double long lap penalty, but as we've said before, crashed before he could take them, wiping
really
out
want
Petrucci.
To do the long lap penalty.
He's like, do you know what? If I've got to do 2 long lap penalties, fuck it. I'm just going to wipe someone else out and just go out for, I'm going to go back, have a shower, maybe just chat to the team. And that's the end of the day. Maybe just sit there, Google Italian Passion, bash one out, I'm happy.
Oh my God.
But there was the wholesome hug in the gravel, like we said.
There was a nice manly hug. And I'm sure from Petrucci that was a proper bone-crushing hug.
I bet it was.
Especially if he's been hitting the weights in readiness for next year.
Yeah, quite.
Henched up.
Yeah, definitely, because he's obviously a ripped guy as it is, but to manhandle a fucking rally bike around, it's going to be
on the roids, something chronic. No, he's not. I don't mean that.
Yeah. Steve is accusing Petrucci of doing an Iannone over here.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
Big boy, I don't want to take him on.
Did you see the crash in qualifying, Steve?
I
Not in
didn't,
qualifying,
no.
sorry. I think it was FP4 where Mir crashed and very nearly took out a cameraman with him.
I haven't seen this though, but I've seen the article about it after.
Yeah, it was scary, man. I was watching it live, and they filmed his crash, and then the camera just was wobbling all over the place, and they quickly cut from it very quickly. I was like, "What the fuck?" It's one of those moments where you're like,
"Something's happened."
Is the cameraman pissed, or has something weird happened here? And then the commentators were like, "It looks like his bike might have hit the camera tower there." I was like, "Oh shit." That's really not good. I said to you before, I've seen this happen in British touring cars. I've seen a car hit a camera tower, and that was bad news for everyone involved. But everyone was fine on this one, and it was just a bit of a shock for everyone, all involved, but everyone was fine. But it was a worrying moment, especially because the commentators then never said anything for the rest of the day. I had to get Googling it. Yeah.
When they leave it, you know something's happened. But yeah, there was an article about it I read on the MotoGP website, where he had apologised to him.
Yeah.
It's not his fault, Christ.
No, exactly.
It's
he
not
didn't
like
plan to crash. Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm going down. I better fucking aim at this prick.
Yeah. Where can I aim this bike? I mean, Jesus, yeah.
But it was scary stuff, man. It was scary. And it would be really scary to be that cameraman.
You imagine filming that come in. You'd just be like, oh, shit.
You're like, oh, God, this could hurt.
Yeah, this one's going wrong. Was he in a tower, or was it just one of those little stands?
I think it was a tower, so one of the crane
probably
towers.
The bit that made it a bit better. If it was one of the little ones...
It made it look more dramatic, certainly, because obviously you get the angles and stuff, the real shake going on there. But everyone was okay, so that's
the main thing. It's like everyone's all right. Mir apologised. Not that she really apologised because it wasn't his fault.
But it's also a polite thing to do. We know Mir is a wonderful human being. He's a really nice guy. So
if you've done something like that, the natural thing is, I'm so sorry, mate.
Yeah, exactly.
And,
I mean, I say sorry if I get in the way of someone's trolley in Sainsbury's. I'm really sorry.
I don't know what other countries are like around the world, but I feel like as British dudes, we apologise a lot.
I feel like Brits and Canadians, stereotypically, we are just a very apologising bunch of people.
Yeah, I say sorry for stuff I haven't done. I'll go to walk around the corner and somebody walking the other way. But, oh, sorry, mate. Not my fault. I didn't know he was there.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't even walk into him. I still avoided him by 4 metres, but I still feel the need to apologise.
Yeah, you can probably just bounce off him. Some people say sorry back. Others sort of look at you and what's your problem?
Yeah, my problem is I walk around with headphones on a lot, so when people talk to me, like, to do that thing, I just give them a thumbs up and just like, I don't know what you said, but thumbs up, I'm off.
Yeah, I pretty much do the same. They could be having a right old go, I'd be like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, I'm like, cool, have a good one, I'm off.
Yeah, completely nonchalant about it all. They're raging, you're like, yeah, whatever. Yeah, just made them 10 times worse.
Yeah, you're like, you'll deal with it, don't worry about it.
Yeah, you'll go over it. You'll be fine.
So Johan Mir's teammate, Steve, Alex Rins, qualified 13th, finished the race in 6th, though. Stayed on the bike, which is a result.
Happy days.
Scored some points.
Happy days.
Can't say more than that, really.
No, happy days. I don't really know where to go with that. It's just like, for Rins this year, it just seems like...
At least he finished a fucking race, mate.
That's what it feels like.
That's sort of how it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, we've named him Bins, or you named him Bins.
I didn't, to be fair. This happened in the Facebook group. This
it was one of the lads in the Facebook group, named him Bins. Anyway, but he's stuck.
Yeah.
So for him not to gravel trap it, just feels like a bonus straight off.
Yeah, exactly. He scored some points, job done.
And like the mechanics in that garage are just like able to build one of those things blindfolded.
Exactly. And then Mir goes and crashes. They're like, for fuck's sake, we weren't even expecting you to be the one that crashed.
The mechanics are like, lads, how do I put this bit on?
Yeah, exactly. Can you come help us? We're really not sure how this bit clips on.
Our guy hasn't crashed for a while. Yours has.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like when you can imagine Rins' guys could like build one of those things blindfolded, like they do in the army with the rifles, like speed test. Put it together, done.
Yeah, exactly. It's a 45-minute blindfold job to build an entire MotoGP bike from the ground up.
Yeah, just by feel. And then Mir's guys are like, fucking clue, mate. What's this round thing?
You're like, that's a tyre, bro.
Oh, rubber. Soft. So
yeah, a good one from Rins. Happy days. It is what it is. The Suzuki ain't winning a championship this year. Clearly, that's done.
No, that's done.
Brings us on to Yamaha then, Steve. I know we're tearing through this, guys, but like I
Tim's
say,
got a train to catch.
I've got a train to catch.
And to be fair, there wasn't a great deal happening, so.
Nah, like I say, it wasn't the most exciting race, Steve. It really wasn't.
No.
But we're on to Yamaha then. Yamaha, well, they won the championship.
They did. It's really awkward, isn't it, when someone wins a championship, but the rest of them haven't done very well.
Yeah, exactly.
We've had this a lot this year, where it makes it a real headfuck.
There's a one standout rider. You're like, well, where does that put the factory in this list?
Yeah, well, the way we format our show, putting everyone's positions in our opinion of where they finish, other guys tend to pick one subject.
Yes.
And we'll stick with that because we talk about everyone. It makes them a bit more difficult to categorise.
Yeah, exactly. So the Yamaha results look like this. Andrea Dovizioso, obviously riding the Petronas Yamaha on the year-old machine, qualified 21st, finished the race in 13th. Managed to score some points, but to be honest, that's more down to people crashing in front of him than him making up a lot of ground. He was still 41 seconds off the win.
That's a long way. That edge has really gone off that knife.
Yeah.
We know it's a new machine. He hasn't ridden a Yamaha for a long time.
Well, arguably an old machine as well, which is going to be part of the problem here. But we'll
tough.
see what he does when he gets onto a 2022 bike next year.
Yeah, I think next year will be more of a reflection of his ability.
Certainly. He'll have had more time on it. He'll have had all pre-season testing. He'll know what the machine's doing.
Yeah. So roll on next year. I think it's just a bedding in period for Dovey.
Yeah.
So, which is a shame. We really like Dovey, and we've just seen absolutely nothing of him.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I think that's a reflection of the bike, though. We saw that with Morbidelli. Morbidelli scored one podium on that machine this year. He won 3 races on that machine last year, finished second in the championship. This year, scored 1 podium, and then sort of just fucked off with a knee injury.
Yeah, just like, I can't bother. Done my knee in, lads. Have you?
Well, because that's an injury that he did in 2015, but just never got fixed. And then it's sort of like this year, it just either
happened.
Yeah, no, it either got to a point where it was so bad he needed surgery, or the conspiracy theorists will say he just went, nah, this bike's shit, I'm getting surgery.
Yeah, both. Potentially, you could argue both.
I mean, Kimi Raikkonen did this in Formula One. There was a big argument with Lotus when he was driving for Lotus, and Lotus were in a lot of trouble at the time and weren't actually able to pay anyone. They'd just run out of money. So he just went, well, I'm having back surgery, I'm off.
Yeah, why not?
And they're like, what? He's like, well, you haven't paid me 3 races, so I'm going to have back surgery. I'll see you later. And he just fucked off for the rest of the season.
Good lad. I like it. I like his style. You haven't paid me? See ya.
Yeah, exactly.
But then I do the same. If I rolled up at work, they're like, I can't pay it. I'm like, all right. So I think that you'd let the first one go.
I wouldn't, mate. If it was a job you really loved, like a racing driver or a MotoGP rider, you'd be like, yeah, okay, you let the first couple go. But after a while, you're like, do you know what? Fuck the lot of ya. Like, people, like, unions really fought for a lot for us for this, so I ain't putting up with your bullshit for this, guys. I'm off.
My work's been good to me. So, and they do pay me quite well, so I've got to show some loyalty.
That's fair.
Yeah, so they've been good. So I give them 1.
you let them have the 1.
I'd have the 1. The second one, I'd probably be like, you're not going to get as much effort.
Yeah, exactly.
And the last one, I'd be like, well, you now owe me this much, and the CNC machine is worth less.
Yeah.
And I can fit that in my van.
You're a better man than me, though, because you'd give them 1 without changing the effort, mate. I'd give them 1, and then I'd be like, you are getting 50% effort till I get paid.
Oh, I'd probably give them 50% effort.
Okay. To be fair, I've very rarely had many jobs much like that, where I've given more than 50% effort anyway.
Well, let's face it, when I go back with it, it's going to be running at like 40%. So
exactly.
You're going to have to make allowances for me. You know, what are you fitting today? I don't know. I don't know what it's called. My brain can't remember. I've got everything written down, dot to dots.
So the teammate of Andrea Dovizioso, then Valentino Rossi, qualified 23rd, Steve, in his final race at home. However, actually had a cracking race and finished 10th.
The home race, all right. Come on, brain. Qualified 23rd.
And the ship guys crashed in front of him.
Yeah, that's where I was going. Did help him out, but even so.
I mean, he slaughtered Dovey when you look at the times. He was maybe 20 seconds ahead by the end of the race.
He really schooled him. Showed that the old doctor still has got it.
Exactly.
Cracking race. Best one of the year?
Probably,
arguably.
Yeah. And it was great. Like, what a great celebration at the end of it. Throwing the helmet into the crowd, doing, like, just very Rossi celebrations, and just looked like he was having a lot of fun.
He did look like he enjoyed it. There was no sign of remorse, like he was sad to be going.
No.
It all looked happy, and what a souvenir that bloke or that person has got. He never thrown anything, as far as I know, in the crowd before. Maybe a glove or two.
Yeah, I understand that he's never thrown gear into the crowd before like this.
extremely rare, but he threw the one-off helmet.
And it was that special, the race worn lid.
Yeah. The one-off. I'd have been out. We've had this discussion in the Facebook group. You know, what would I insure it for? Chuck Norris.
It's the horrible thing, though. I'd probably sell the cunt. Like, I'd probably just be selling it.
How would you put a value on it?
You let the auction, mate. You let the market decide.
It would have to go on a specialist. So you couldn't put it on eBay. You couldn't make a price.
No, that's fair. You'd have to let the market decide. You'd have to go to some special auction house.
It would have to be Bonhams, like for a specialist auctioneer to actually come up with a figure.
Yeah.
And your average everyday Joe is just not going to...
And actually hold on to that for 10, 15 years, 20 years.
Oh, Jesus. You get him to sign it. Imagine if you could roll up and get him to sign it.
That would be great, right?
And get a COA to go with it. Headphones?
Ear defenders, actually. I was like, what is this thing that feels like the headphones that are on my head? So ear defenders.
Oh, right. The boys, I'll just explain what's going on here in my house. So we have little pairs of ear defenders for the boys if we go anywhere. So, like, they're not overly keen on loud noises. And I think that's Enzo's pair. Yeah, it's just rolled off the sofa and just landed on Tim.
Just sort of landed in my lap here.
Yeah.
But they'll do the job. I'm not going to try putting them on now. I've got headphones on as it is.
I was going to say, don't try putting them on.
I'll probably end up breaking them with my massive head anyway.
Oh, they extend?
Oh, well, there we go. They would fit.
They will just fit you. But there's another pair right there as well. Look,
I can see a nice red pair here, but these ones aren't fold-up ones, so I'm less excited about them.
They're Brodies.
But we'll just leave those there.
Safety first. Got to think about the little eardrums.
But a great weekend from Valentino Rossi.
Yeah, very good,
and
mate.
Apparently his final ever special helmet.
That's it. Yeah, won't be doing one. Apparently, like we were talking about before the show, there will be something special at Valencia.
But it won't be a helmet. He will be racing his classic lid for the season at Valencia.
Which is quite nice. We're speculating special livery.
A full-on special livery, man.
And a hell of a celebration.
It will be an incredible celebration.
We'll talk about the actual events after we get to the end of the show, but like there was a lot going on that we didn't see at the end of this race, which is a little annoying, but
it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is, mate. There was so much going on.
We talked about this last week, didn't we? Saying how, in some ways, I wish the title had been decided at Portimao.
Yeah, I'm sort of feeling that now.
Yeah, that's exactly. This is what I was sat there thinking about last week. I really hope it goes to Portimao because I want to see the full ball Rossi Italian end, and it's just so much going on.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'm sure I'm not alone. Everyone was thinking the same thing. There's far more happened there.
There was too much going on for the camera to
you could tell.
Yeah, exactly. There was it just kept cutting, and it was just too much on the world feed. With the three big storylines, obviously the storyline of the winner, the storyline of the championship, the storyline of Valentino Rossi's last Italian race. It was just too much.
Way too much. And the whole weekend there was a lot going on. There's so much happening. Is what it is. It's done now.
Exactly. On to the factory Yamahas then, Steve.
Aye.
Franco Morbidelli qualified 6th, fucking result, best qualified Yamaha, and was really racing at the sharp end for much of the race.
He was, he was up there. He did start to fall down the order a little bit.
Tumbled down the order by the end of the race.
Yeah, I think he just cooked his tyres.
I don't know what it was, but I think it was probably race fitness, just in his knee by the end of it.
Mixture of the two. But yeah, it did tumble and finish the race at 14th.
Yes, exactly. Clearly the fastest Yamaha in qualifying, but just a bad finish, all things considered. But it was nice to see him at the sharp end again. It was good to see that Morbidelli hasn't disappeared.
No.
It was good to see that he, and it builds for next season. Next season, I don't know if he's going to challenge Quartararo for a championship, but I think he's going to be a multiple race winner next year.
I think so. I think he'll be at the pointy end.
Yeah, certainly.
I think he'll be in the mix and he'll definitely influence where the title goes.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think he'll be a title contender.
I think he will, but I think he's going to have an outside shot at it. I also think Yamaha are probably, and for good reason, going to give preferential treatment to Quartararo.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah, definitely. Why would you not?
Yeah, exactly. Why would you not?
So I was struggling to get words
out. But Quartararo then, newly crowned world champion, qualified 15th, finished the race in 4th. Probably could have been in 3rd, but a tough battle with Bastianini into the last few corners. And I think he just went, do you know what? I've just won this fucking championship. I don't need to be fighting with Bastianini for a podium here. I'm just going to roll through and take 4th place, and I'm going to be happy to do so because I'm literally the world champion. Yeah,
I think that natural racer's edge is always like podium.
Uh-huh.
But then you're about to win a championship. Why would you not roll off? Why would you risk it? He could have been there. Let's say he got tangled up with Bastianini.
I mean, he still would have won the championship, to be
He
fair.
still would have done, but...
But winning the championship from the gravel trap isn't quite as good as crossing the line as champion, is it?
Flying across.
Exactly.
But yeah, race wrapped up.
Yeah.
Championship wrapped up.
And a good recovery ride from 15th to 4th, regardless.
It was. Whatever happened, he knew what he had to do.
Yeah.
Yes, he was not gifted, but definitely helped by Bagnaia falling off.
Yes, certainly.
So, spoiler.
Well, by Bagnaia crashing out of the race is what handed him the championship.
Yeah.
I mean, if it had finished how it was going to Portimao either way.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, just a good ride, an amazing season from Quartararo, and we will clearly, towards the end of this, well, in the off-season, I think we'll probably dive into Quartararo's season full stop and have a really in-depth look at it.
Yeah, because it is a mixed fortune this year for him. The BT Sport guys did show a little snippet of what's happened. Like, he had some good... God's sake. He had some good results and bad results.
The highs were amazing, but the lows were really low.
Exactly. So to still win it is a hell of an achievement.
Yeah, quite.
So we will definitely dive into that.
Certainly. On to Ducati then, Steve. Let's start off with Luca Marini here. Luca Marini qualified in 3rd, put it on the front rows. Stunner.
Yep.
Absolutely great. What the fuck? Where did that come from? Had that amazing... Well, we said about the Moto2 guys, but that Grazzi Valet
just
livery
looked even better in the styling of the...
on the full MotoGP bike. It looked a lot like the Lamborghini Pramac machines we've seen before, but brighter. And the amazing thing was...
yellow.
No sponsors.
No, just... they were tiny at the bottom.
I didn't see any. I didn't notice any, actually.
If you look at the pictures, on the bottom of the belly pan, they were all down there in equal little squares.
Yeah, okay.
So they were there, but fucking small.
Yeah.
And you had to zoom in to see them. They were tiny.
Yeah, they're great.
Very,
I
very
really
tall.
liked it. I think it was one of the best looking machines I've seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you say, very Lamborghini-esque. But yeah, I had to zoom, or it wasn't until somebody else put it out, and I zoomed in, the sponsors were there.
Yeah, and the really nice thing is Valentino didn't know this was happening.
No, that's really cool. So for somebody else to do that off the back, it's massive sign of respect. Just nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's a step brother. They didn't have to do anything. They could have waited till the end of the year.
But it made sense, mate. It's fucking
did.
20 minutes down the road to Tavulia. Like, it's just the prime place to do it at Misano.
Can you imagine what it must have been like?
Tavulia must have been meant. Imagine trying to get a fucking room in Tavulia over the weekend.
Near it.
Jeez.
In hindsight, we should have gone.
Oh my god, mate, we could not afford to stay there. Imagine what Airbnb prices in Tavulia would have been like.
Just sleep in the van. I'm sure.
And just hang out in the pubs in the town and watch the race. It would have been a great place to watch the race, man.
Jeez, can you imagine being anywhere around that region this weekend? Would have been nuts. I'm sure Flo could have made it. Well, I couldn't have made it. I was in hospital.
Exactly, and I can't drive your van, so we'd have gone in my car.
That would have fitted right in, bright yellow.
Yeah, it's a fair point. We could have spray painted just Grazzi Valet along the side. That would have been really cool.
That would have been amazing. You would have had to hook me up to some funky machines on the way there.
That's fine, mate. It probably wouldn't have been worth it. I'd have been shitting a brick the entire time. Wouldn't have been worth it at all. I'd be like, it's really cool to be here, but Steve, we really need to get you to hospital now.
Dribbling. No. Where's the car battery? Bzz. I'm fine.
So Marini finished 9th in the end. His career best qualifying, like we said. And it was actually Ducati's first ever 1-2-3 in qualifying.
Yes.
Really good, a really good result, and a fairly good finish, all things considered. Slaughtered by his teammate.
Oh, God, yeah.
But still 9th place, still top 10, still a good finish for him.
Yes, yeah.
And still building for next season.
Exactly. Both these, I was going to say third tier.
Well, sort of third tier Ducatis, yeah.
Third tier Ducatis are now looking good. They're coming to their own. Bastianini, gee, let's move on to him.
Yes, quite. So Bastianini qualified 16th and finished in 3rd.
Just creeps again. He's just always creeping up,
and he's very good at Misano. To be fair,
he is very good at Misano. And luckily, I'd put him in my fantasy team.
That was a good shout.
We thought just because he was literally the only one I could afford.
You got some good points for him there, man.
I did get some good points for him there. But yeah, both these guys are looking good. It's just the Ducati, the whole Ducati setup, team,
it's just
talent
right now.
is just nuts. Yeah. We've had this discussion about the Ducatis already, but my God,
yeah,
these guys are just looking better and better.
Certainly, and just a solid result for him again. And he's, like we say, he's taken the lead in the rookie standings now.
Yes.
He's 5 points clear of Martin. Martin, who qualified 12th in this race and did not finish. Big crash again, and
crash.
It looked like he'd really hurt himself to start with, but he did walk away from it. But as you've said, he looks like he might be having to have surgery again.
Yeah, I did see an article that's come out this evening that says there is questions over whether he will need surgery and when that surgery will be.
He seems to be a bit of a Danny Pedrosa here.
This is exactly what my thoughts were earlier. Took the word right out of my mouth. He is striking me as a Danny P.
Yeah.
He's going to be bloody quick.
But very injury prone.
Yeah, he's going to be another Terminator by the end of his career.
Yeah.
He'll always be fast. Doesn't matter. He'll come back injured, fast.
Yeah.
Fast, crash, fast. He's just going to be that guy again.
Mm-hmm.
Which we've seen a few of them. But Mr. P, yeah, was definitely one of them.
Yes, certainly. His teammate in Johan Zarco here. Johan Zarco qualified 10th, finished the race in 5th. Quiet race, not a lot happened, but
no,
a pretty solid result.
Yeah, just a good circulative finish.
Yes, certainly. Which brings us then nicely onto the factory bikes, Steve. And there was 3 of them this weekend.
There was 3.
3 factory machines. We'll start with Michele Pirro here. Michele Pirro qualified 22nd, finished the race in 12th. We didn't really see a lot of what was going on there.
I see a lot at all, mate. I don't actually remember seeing him in the race at all.
No, me neither. Not a lot happened at all. I remember seeing him qualifying, in free practice, and I didn't actually realise he was there this weekend. I probably should have done, but I was like, 51? Why the fuck is that?
I did exactly the same thing when they were in qualifying. I was like, oh, he's there.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, Pirro's here. That's exciting.
Yeah, where did you come from?
Yeah, exactly. But we should have guessed it. It's Misano, it's Italy, it's Ducati, it's Pirro. Obviously, it makes sense that he would be there.
It was just like someone had snuck him in. Like, he's in the garage. Genie was like, well, go on then.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I was like, oh, right, I'm writing. Go. Oh, shit. I
you went nearly 2 hours without kicking the mic, Steve. It was so close.
Damn it. There's only one. Oh, now I've done it again.
Oh, twice now. Oh, it's all going downhill.
It's getting near the end of the show. I'm starting to slur my words. And
for once, it's not the booze.
It's not the booze, it's the brain.
So then the 2 factory Ducatis, Steve. Jack Miller qualified 2nd. Pecco Bagnaia qualified 1st. It was his 4th pole position in a row, and he looked like he was going to be able to take the championship down to Portimao. Obviously, a lot of us had Bagnaia.
Everyone. I don't think I know anyone who betted against him.
Yeah, we all kind of had him down for the race win.
Yeah.
And we were all like, result, Bagnaia's going to get there. The championship's going to go down to Portimao. This is all good. Let's see what happens.
Yep.
And then the race played as it did, didn't it? So Jack Miller was clearly playing wingman for Bagnaia.
Oh, absolutely.
Looked like he could have made an overtake in those first few laps, but didn't. Was sort of rolling off, playing a defensive line, keeping Marquez behind him as well,
was the
which
plan.
was that was the plan. Let Bagnaia get ahead, let Bagnaia get the 25 points, and let Miller and Marquez scrap. Happy days. It didn't matter if Miller finished, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th. If he could hold up whoever it was trying to challenge for the win and let Bagnaia get off and get the win, then he's earned his money for Ducati.
Yeah, that was his sole job.
However, he crashed out pretty early on. In
lap 5?
Yeah,
6?
I think it was earlier than that.
Might have even, it could have been.
Was it the right-hander after a series of lefts? I think, or was it a left-hander after a series? It's a left-hander after a series of rights.
After a series of rights.
And he blamed it on a cold tyre. He said he didn't push hard enough.
I think he was sandbagging just to stay where he was.
Exactly. And then he just had a cold tyre crash and was gone. It was just a pretty innocuous crash, but quite a good slide through the gravel. I really enjoyed the fact that he did that cool thing that MotoGP riders do when they start sliding. They manage to stand up at the end of their slide and just jog it off, and then he just kind of just waved his arms in frustration, and then happy days, it's done.
Whenever they do that, like Mir did, I always expect them to do that gymnastics thing at the end where they stop and whatever that finish they do. Ole.
Yeah, exactly.
That's obviously not what they say.
Arms up, face the other direction. Arms up.
One of them's got to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
If any of you listen, for Christ's sake, do it next year.
Yeah, please.
But don't hurt yourself, obviously.
Oh, God, can you imagine if one of them tries to do that and just popped a knee in the process? But fuck.
Steve and Tim told me to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it. Sorry, Gigi. Assuming it'd be a Ducati rider there, naturally.
Yeah. There's going to be so many of them on the fucking grid next year, Steve.
Yeah, it's like half the grid. So
exactly.
Pick your poison. But yeah, every time I see that, like Mir's one especially, because he's sort of going sideways running when he did it.
Yeah, Mir's was good.
That was
really,
fast.
really good. But Miller's was a close second.
Yeah, very close second. This one with the rant was just like, "Urgh."
Yeah, it was the anger that was the arms thrown about. The Italian passion, you could say.
That's it. Been beaten into him by Gigi.
Yeah, exactly.
Show some passion. Normally it'd just be like, oh, damn it. Now it's like, oh, full on Italian swearing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, however they swear. I don't know any Italian swear words.
I don't know an Italian swear, actually, on that note.
No.
I'm not even going to try.
No, I'm not. I'm not even
I was about to just swear in an Italian accent, but I was like, nah, I'm not.
No, let's not do that. My
that.
voice is a bit screwed up as it is. Let's not even try it.
So Pecco Bagnaia then, Steve, as we say, qualified first, his fourth pole position in a row. It looked like he was going to be able to extend the championship out. Was battling with not battling, but was duelling with Marquez, you could say.
Holding him at bay, just keeping each other stretched.
But started to pull a gap as the race went on. It was that moment he was like 4/10 up. The next lap it was 6/10, then it was 8/10, and it was a second. You're like, oh, he's pulling the gap here. Things are looking good. But then as soon as it got to over a second, he had the same cold tyre crash as Miller, and it was gone. Yep. And at that moment, everyone was like, you saw the Ducati camp just collapse, and you saw the Yamaha camp go, fuck, Quartararo's just won the title. Oh my God, what do? Do we celebrate? Do we celebrate? We don't know if he's okay yet. We can't celebrate yet. Let's make sure he gets up first. Okay, he's up. We've just won the title.
It was exactly that. I was watching it, and it was the 1 second I stepped out the room, and I stepped back in. I was like, where's Bagnaia gone?
Yeah.
I was like, for fuck's sake. And obviously, at this point, I'd just come out of bloody hospital. I was still a bit unsure what the hell was going on. Sarah had just taken the boys up the shop from it. I sat there, I was like, it took me a second. I was like, oh, I've got Sky and rewind it.
I'm glad I texted you during the race to be like, are you watching this? Rather than just being oh my fucking God, can you believe this has just happened?
It was very tentative texting from both of us for like 10 seconds. Are you watching? Yeah. Are you watching? Yeah. And then it just erupted.
Yeah.
They're very polite. They're fuck me.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like I said, at this point, I was still like, trying to type one hand.
Yeah.
I get 5 messages from Tim, and I still haven't replied to the first one because I couldn't quite hit the bloody letter I wanted to. And it was like, dictate it, and it was like...
But we got there in the end, Steve. We managed to communicate, and that was the important thing.
We did manage to communicate.
But it's a shame the championship was over, but, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a deserving champion, and it was nice that Bagnaia held it on. It was nice to see him challenge for the championship, and it's going to be great next year to see the battle that ensues.
God, yeah. Absolutely, excuse me. It really is. Marquez, Bagnaia, Quartararo... Maybe a couple of others thrown in the spice just to add a bit of twist to it.
Yeah.
It's going to be fantastic.
It's going to be great, man.
It really is going to be good.
So that brings us on to Honda, Steve. Final factory to talk about here.
Honda.
Weird, right? We talked about Honda last. And it's a tale of two teams for Honda, really, isn't it? The LCR team is going to be very quick and easy to digest here.
Yes.
Alex Marquez qualified 14th. Taka Nakagami qualified 17th. They both ended their races on... Well, no, they didn't. They both had issues on the same lap. Taka Nakagami crashed, but did manage to remount and finished 15th for a single point.
Yes, last.
Well, quite last, yeah, exactly. Alex Marquez had a technical issue a few corners later. Apparently, it just had stop engine on his dashboard, and he just had to stop.
Yep.
And that was that.
I didn't even think you got that. I think it just all went blank in MotoGP. But it's like a warning
light.
No,
it was the same as the warning light in your car. It came up and it said stop engine on his dash. So he stopped his engine. Amazing.
Check coolant.
Yeah, exactly. I remember last time I had a stop light on my car. I was like, fuck, I better stop. And I stopped and I killed the engine.
Oh, you said this dropping your brother off.
All of my electronics had died because my earth cable had sheared as I was going over a speed bump. I was like, fuck. If I had not stopped, I would have got home. And then I just finished a 12-hour night shift. And, I had to sit there for 4 hours and wait for the AA. In the middle of Norwich at like 7 o'clock in the morning. It took the AA 4 hours. Fuck's sake.
It's so annoying, isn't it? We've only once in my lifetime we've broken down in the middle of the motorway. And when you sat there with nothing else to do, time goes so slowly.
Oh, mate, it's terrible. At least I was near my brother's girlfriend, so we actually went in and had a cup of tea and stuff, and that was okay.
But it was in the pissing down rain, and they always tell you to get out the car.
Yeah, like, you can get fucked. Am I getting out of this car, pal?
Yeah, and we were like on the hard shoulder, but it was one of those thin hard shoulders.
Ooh, okay, I probably would have got out of the car.
Yeah, and I got it over as far as I could, and I sat there, I was just like, I don't really want to get out because there was no like real verge either.
Oh, okay.
I was like,
A lot of time they'll tell you to stay in the car if there's no barrier or anything.
yeah, we did stay in the car in the end and got towed away, but it was like 3 hours.
Oh, it's
It
a
felt
long
like
time.
a lifetime. And you just like the whole time you're sitting there.
Are you just watching this traffic?
Yeah, the car's rocking. And you're like, wanker, wanker,
Yeah.
idiot, wanker. I hope you break down. I hope you break down. And you, and you. And you always get that one that looks, you turn around and that what you make eye contact.
Yeah.
For that split second. And you're like, yeah. And everyone's thinking it. Fireball. But no one dares say it. I hope you get down a blaze of glory.
And speaking of a blaze of glory, Steve, let's bring it to the factory duo of
Let's take it back,
Honda,
'cause you're
Repsol
training
Honda
soon.
here. Yeah, I know we're going to miss out on a lot of the end of this show, but we will cover that next week.
Yes.
Pol Espargaro then, Steve, qualified 4th for a pretty good qualifying result. And Marc Marquez's teammate qualified 7th.
Yes.
But that's not the end of the story here for Repsol
No.
Honda, is it? Pol Espargaro had a really solid result. The low track temperatures meant he actually had rear grip and was really able to perform and finish 2nd place. His best ever MotoGP finish.
I know, mate. Amazing.
I didn't realise Pol Espargaro hadn't had a 2nd place finish until this race.
I didn't either. And then they started talking about it. I was like, really?
Yeah, huh? I was
then
like,
it
he must
clicked.
have had
I
one
was
with
like-
KTM. But no, it was all thirds.
Yeah, literally 3rd place.
So his best ever finish has come from Repsol Honda now. Maybe vindicating that move. Probably not vindicating that move.
No, it depends what they do next year. Because we've heard like Honda have made some radical changes. To their
It's a
bikes.
completely different bike for next year.
So next year, mate, is going to be a stunner.
Yeah,
All round. If all these bikes come into their own, we're on for a season.
Certainly are. But yes, the 2nd place finish, incredible for Pol Espargaro. A really, really good result. And his teammate, Marc Marquez, came from 7th to 1st. Back-to-back wins for Marc Marquez
and a
now.
right-handed track.
On a right-handed track. Massive. And would he have won this race if Bagnaia hadn't crashed? No, probably not.
I wouldn't have thought so.
But like I said to you in the text, we were having this conversation, and it was that simple quote, to finish first you must finish.
Exactly.
And he did the job, didn't he?
Exactly. You just got to bring it home. Just ride sensibly. And this is the more calculated Marquez we've spoken about.
Uh-huh.
That's
exactly it.
Yeah. Oh, mate. I'm so happy he won this race.
And he looked ecstatic. And this is part of the problem at the end, wasn't it? We had Quattro's championship celebration. We had Marc Marquez winning a right-handed track. We had Valentino Rossi's last race on Italian soil. There was so much going on that they just didn't know what to tell us.
It was just split into 3.
Yeah, it was
cruel, really. It really
was because I feel like we missed not the important bits, but we missed a lot of each event because we couldn't see the whole event.
Each one justified its own amount of telly time.
Yeah.
But each one should have happened at a different race.
Yeah, exactly.
We spoke about this last week. Big celebration should have been this weekend.
Yep.
Quattro should have wrapped the championship next weekend.
Uh-huh.
And even if Marquez had won this week, he would have got equal amount of telly time to what Rossi had done.
Yes, exactly.
So it would have worked, but it's just unfortunate it all happened in one. Oh, excuse me.
In
all
one
happened
weekend,
in one weekend.
Yeah, exactly.
But we know there'll be a big thing for Quattro at the end of the season.
Yeah,
there'll be a big thing for Rossi, and let's just hope they equal it out.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Thing. And there'll be the award ceremony as well.
And the award ceremonies are great. I'm looking forward to watching that this year.
Yes, we always try and watch it. That will be good. Definitely tune in if you haven't done before.
Yep, that's just another excuse for me to sit in front of the TV with a few beers.
Exactly.
It really doesn't take much of an excuse, to be fair.
Stuff, so I enjoy it. If you haven't tuned in before, watch it. It's well worth a look.
Yeah, it's normally free streamed in it somewhere.
It is normally free streamed. It's not very long. Well, the thing itself is quite long.
Yeah, the whole gala will be a while, but like the actual award ceremony will be pretty short.
Yeah, it's a lot better than the race unveiling or the team livery unveilings we saw this year.
Well, some of them were great.
Some of them were awesome. Some that I have thoughts on could have been a lot better. Maybe next year.
No, maybe next year, eh? But yeah, this was Honda's first 1-2 since 2017, Steve, and actually their first double podium since 2019. And actually that double podium was thanks to Mark and Cal.
Yes.
So that's not even a Repsol Honda double podium. Repsol Honda haven't had a double podium for a long time.
I don't even know what that stat is.
It'll be 2017 again, won't it? Jorge Lorenzo was the 2019.
Yes.
Danny P got on the podium in 2018, didn't he? He just didn't win a race.
Yeah, he did.
So, and I'm sure Marquez must have got on the podium at the same time, but I don't know that. I'm just guessing at this point.
We're just making shit up now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All in all, not the best race, but a bloody good race weekend.
Yes, that's exactly the case. Right, Steve, we've still got shit to talk about. We've actually got a Facebook comment, which we said we were going to get to this week, but we are running out of time rapidly. We've got to go over our predictions. We've got to go through the top 10 of the championship.
Should we cover all that next week when we can give it the time it deserves?
That's what I'm thinking. We also need to run through the Fantasy League next week. So
Let's do all that next week.
We'll do all that next week, guys.
We would have got there, but there was a shit ton of news to talk about.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time just chatting shit today. So I think we're going to have to end it here, Steve. I'm desperate for a wee, and then I need to shoot. So
let's cover it all. Let's give it the attention it needs. Next week, I'll hopefully be able to talk a bit better then. Won't make as many mistakes. So I apologise if I have. Apologise if I slurred.
It's all good, Steve. Like I say, mate, you're sounding much less like Sean Connery than when we spoke on the phone. So things are improving.
Yesterday, a lot of people told me that.
Yeah, there you go.
Real sort of Sean Connery kind of slough.
It's the suave James Bond thing you've got going on, Steve. It's not the lisp going on. It's the suave James Bond look. That's what it
does come back. Mornings it'd be worse.
Okay, so
we real lisp in the morning.
There we go. But remember just never to record in the morning.
Yeah, we do it in the evening like we do.
Exactly.
Bonus. Anyway, time's getting on. Let's do all this next week. We can give it the attention it deserves.
Yep.
We can get you to the toilet and back to your train.
That's what I like in a man that knows to get me to the toilet and to the train on time. So, guys, we're going to end it there. Thank you all very, very much for listening. If you've got anything you want to say to us, any questions, like I say, we've got a comment for next week that we will get to next week, and I apologise we haven't done it today. But anything you want to say at all, you can find us on.
See if I can nail this. Here we go. Right, we are for the Love of MotoGP. You can find us on Instagram and Twitter, or come and join our Facebook community. The chat in there has been good this week.
It has, especially during this weekend, mate. This race weekend's been great.
Yeah, very sorry I spoiled someone, but it's just what happens. Social media, you would have got spoiled anyway.
Yeah.
Or if you want to, drop us an email. We are for the Love of MotoGP @gmail.com.
And remember, guys, all corrections can go to there, and we will get those, and we will read them out.
We always read
if you're nice about it.
It just don't be nasty. Upsets us.
Exactly. There are certainly things we've never read out before because some people are dicks, but most of the time it's nice things we get. And we have plenty of conversations actually we don't read out on there, but I've had plenty of chats with a lot of listeners, just back and forth conversation that's been a lot of fun. So yeah, please get in touch if you're nice, but if you're not going to be nice, don't bother.
No.
But that brings us to the end, guys. Thank you all very much for listening. We will speak to you next week. Stay safe, look after each other, and we'll speak to you soon, guys. Goodbye.
Take care, guys.
Music is by Andrew Greenwood. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.